you and welcome you, sir.
Now I request Sarvesh Shaparia to kindly introduce Sri Amarjit Chopra ji, sir.
Thank you, Sarojji. Hello, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to read the brief profile of Amarjit sir, who is the past president of ICAI. He is a highly acclaimed chartered accountant for more than 41 years. He is the senior partner of GSA and Associates Chartered Accountants. And he was the past president of ICAI during the year 2010-11 and the vice president the year before. He has been recently reappointed as the chairman of National Advisory Committee on Accounting Standards by the central government for the third successive year. Also, he is nominated as a member of Investor Education and Protection Fund Authority by Central Government of India. He has been nominated by IRDA on the Standing Committee of Accounting Issues in Insurance Companies. He chaired several important committees that dealt with auditing and accounting standards, corporate governance, and banking at the national level, and IFSC, CPE, and SAFA at the international level. Banking, finance, and insurance sector interested him immensely, which could be evidenced by his nomination as independent director of Bank of Baroda and Indian Bank, member of the Securities and Exchange Board Committee on the Disclosures and Accounting Standards, board member of the Insurance Regulatory Authority of India, and member of Audit Committee of the Reserve Bank of India. Besides, he is also on the board of various private sector companies as an independent director. Amarjit sir has contributed significantly to the professional development of the auditing and accountancy discipline in India over the years in different capacities. He was appointed by the Government of India to investigate complex issues in relation to Xerox India Limited and also served as the chairman of the high-powered committee of ICAI that examined Satyam fraud in India and investigated several other matters during his career as a professional auditor. He has been conferred honorary membership of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Australia and honorary life membership of the Association of International Accountants London. A prolific speaker, he has delivered more than 2,500 lectures on various topics, including accounting and auditing standards, IFRS, banking, including financial inclusion, insurance, corporate laws, corporate governance, peer review, both in India as well as abroad. He is presently the board of Roop Automotives Limited, Rico Auto Industries Limited, Urban Improvement Company Private Limited, ICAI Accounting Research Foundation Limited, and IFCI Venture Capital. He also takes keen interest in music and sports, particularly cricket. So it's an honor to have you with us, sir. And over to you, sir. Now, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarvesh. Thanks to Sarojji. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Thanks to Sarojji, Naveen Khemka ji. ये कौन बीच में कौन है यार? I think if you can put everybody on mute and then unmute me, that will be better. Because otherwise some disturbance will continue.
हाँ नवीन जी, सबको म्यूट करके सर को अनम्यूट कर दीजिए, वही बेटर रहेगा।
कर दिया सर।
रोज जी, नवीन खेमका जी, नितेश मौर्य जी, सर्वेश छपरिया साहब, and other members who have joined this particular program. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Joined this particular program. Number one, I'd like to say that the biodata which has been read out is at least 4 years old, 4 to 5 years old. That doesn't make much of the difference in any case. So that makes me almost 4 years younger. This year's bank audit, I think most of the members are going to feel disappointed for one reason. कि ऑडिट आएगा नहीं, नई वैकेंसीज तो है नहीं. And I will be blunt and I will be straight in talking on many aspects of this profession. See, this year, after the RBI has issued the instructions to various banks that auditable advances are to be reduced from 90% to 80%, there are no vacancies in any bank, barring few vacancies in State Bank of India and few vacancies in Central Bank of India. In one of the banks, last year, the number of the branches to be audited were 3,100. This year, this is going to be only 1,900. इतनी तो वैकेंसीज भी क्रिएट नहीं होती जितनी ब्रांचेस रिड्यूस हो गई. अगर मैं ये मान लूं कि ऑन एन एवरेज 2.5 ब्रांचेस वर टू बी गिवन और 1200 ब्रांचेस रिड्यूस हो गई, तो आप उसकी इम्प्लीकेशन निकाल लीजिए कि उसकी इम्प्लीकेशन क्या है. तो ऑल दोज हु आर एक्सपेक्टिंग कि इस साल में वैकेंसीज आएंगी और ऑडिट मिलेगा, I think they are going to be thoroughly disappointed this year. Next year probably could be a better year. There is no doubt about it. And probably the next year to that could be still better year from the vacancies point of view, unless Reserve Bank of India decides to reduce it further to 70% or 75%. Because one thing is very clear. When this trend starts of reducing the auditable advances, then after that there is no check. One year you say 80%, other year you can say 75%, then you can say 70%, then you can say 65%. We have seen all this happening in tax audit. 40 लाख रही तो decades में रही, और जब बढ़नी शुरू हुई तो अब आपको पता है कि क्या थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट है टैक्स ऑडिट की, मुझे बताने की आपको आवश्यकता नहीं. तो ये अपने आप में एक बड़ा मतलब कि सीरियस इशू है. Actually, RBI wanted to reduce the auditable advances this year only to 70%. But thanks to the efforts of the Honorable President, PDC Chairperson, and few individuals, that it could be retained at a level of 80%. Of course, I will not say retained, it could come to a level of 80% rather than 70%. परंतु इसका कारण क्या है? I think we need to look at the reasons. That's very important. कुछ तो हमारी वजह से है, कुछ और वजह से है. हमारी वजह भी बहुत सारी है. हमारी वजह ये है कि भाई क्वालिटी ऑफ ऑडिट क्या है, क्वालिटी ऑफ ब्रांच ऑडिट क्या है. हम यही कहते रहेंगे कि साहब वो हमें टाइम नहीं देते. हम ये कहते रहेंगे कि जी हमें तो ब्रांच मैनेजर और जीएम या डीजीएम मिलके एमओसी नहीं डालने देते. तो हमारी अपनी क्रेडिबिलिटी क्या है? दैट इज द मूट क्वेश्चन. और मैं ये बड़े सालों से जब भी जहां पे भी गया हूँ, EIRC में भी आया हूँ, कलकत्ता में भी आया हूँ, कभी भी तो मैंने ये बात रेज की है. अगर हम यही कहते रहेंगे कि वो नहीं करने देते, तो सरकार ये कहेगी आपको तो प्राइवेट क्लाइंट भी नहीं करने देता कुछ भी. प्राइवेट क्लाइंट कौन सा आपको करने देता? हम ये कहते हैं कि बैंक वाले हमें टाइम नहीं देते. तो वो हम अपने दिल से ये पूछें कि प्राइवेट क्लाइंट हमें टाइम देता है क्या? कितने टैक्स ऑडिट हम अप्रैल में या मई में या जून में या जुलाई में करते हैं, और कितने टैक्स ऑडिट हम लास्ट के 10 दिन में करते हैं सितंबर में? I think this is something that we will have to answer to ourselves. हम कहते रहे क्वालिटी हमारा विषय नहीं है, मतलब कि वो मुझे तो अभी तक याद है कि आज से 20 साल पहले 15 साल पहले लोग इस बात में प्राइड लेते थे कि मैं दिल्ली से शुरू हुआ, सोनीपत गया, सोनीपत में एक ऑडिट किया, उसके बाद पानीपत में गया, फिर अम्बाला में गया, और 2 दिन में 3 ब्रांचेस करके मैं वापस आ गया. इसीलिए ये हुआ है. ये भी एक कारण है. ये सारे मैं 100% इसको नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, परंतु ये भी अपने आप में एक बड़ा मेजर कारण है कि ब्रांच ऑडिट का जो संदर्भ है। हम जाके उनसे ये बोलते हैं कि साहब अगर ब्रांचेस ऑडिट नहीं होंगी तो वहां पे फ्रॉड होंगे। उनका इमीडिएट हम पे रिएक्शन ये है कि भाई एक ब्रांच बताओ जिसमें ब्रांच ऑडिटर ने फ्रॉड रिपोर्ट किया हो। एनपीए और कितने केसेस में एमओसीज दिए गए और उसका मैटेरियलिटी लेवल क्या था। अगर किसी बैंक में, जैसे मैं पूछ रहा था, एक पर्टिकुलर बैंक है साउथ में, उसके 3,80,000 करोड़ के एडवांसेस हैं। 10% कम होने का मतलब है 38,000 करोड़ रुपए का एडवांस ऑडिट नहीं होगा इस बार। तो वो हमसे ये पूछ रहे हैं कि ये बताइए कि ये 3,80,000 करोड़ में पिछले सालों में किस ऑडिटर ने कौन सा फ्रॉड निकाला। और वो ये भी पूछ रहे हैं कि इन 3,80,000 करोड़ में कितने अमाउंट का एमओसी दिए गए पूरे बैंक को। तो ये तो भाई दोनों साइड से चलेगी ताली, तो दोनों हाथ से बजेगी। अगर हम ये समझते रहेंगे कि ये एनुअल लॉटरी है, बोनस है, आना चाहिए, हम इसको एज अ मैटर ऑफ राइट मांगेंगे, भाई हमें तो ये तो वर्क है, पब्लिक सेक्टर का वर्क है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होना चाहिए, नहीं होगा, अब नहीं होगा कम से कम, ये आपको बता सकता हूँ। क्योंकि मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस बिल्कुल क्लियर है अपने आप में, आरबीआई क्लियर है कि ऑडिट इसलिए नहीं होना क्योंकि सीएस को ऑडिट चाहिए, ऑडिट इसलिए होना है कि इसमें कोई वैल्यू एडिशन होना चाहिए। और अगर वैल्यू एडिशन नहीं है तो ऑडिट होगा या नहीं होगा, ये 5 साल बाद आप फिर समझिएगा कभी। मैं बहुत सालों से ये कह रहा हूं कि जिस तरीके से हम ब्रांच ऑडिट कर रहे हैं उसमें ब्रांच ऑडिट रहेगा नहीं। हमसे रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस और आईबीए ये पूछते हैं कि जब प्राइवेट सेक्टर को ब्रांच ऑडिट की बात नहीं कि सेंट्रल ऑडिटर ये कहे कि साहब बिना ब्रांच ऑडिट के मैं ट्रूथ एंड फेयरनेस की बात नहीं कर पाऊंगा। उसका जवाब हमने दिया और बहुत अच्छा जवाब दिया, और शायद इसी कारण से अभी भी ब्रांच ऑडिट जीवित है। उसका जवाब हमने ये दिया कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक्स का जो जन्म है वो आईटी युग में हुआ है और उन्होंने आईटी को शुरू से अपनाया है, जबकि पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स का जन्म उससे बहुत पहले हो चुका। और प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक्स में जितने रिकॉर्ड्स हैं, लोन्स के रिकॉर्ड्स हैं, बाकी रिकॉर्ड्स हैं, सबके सब डिजिटाइज्ड हैं, जबकि पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स में ये रिकॉर्ड्स डिजिटाइज्ड नहीं है। और अगर ये रिकॉर्ड्स डिजिटाइज्ड नहीं है तो इसके लिए हमको ब्रांचेस में जाके ही ऑडिट करना पड़ेगा। और लॉन्ग फॉर्म ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में इतनी डिटेल्स हैं जिसका ऑडिट सिर्फ और सिर्फ ब्रांचेस में जाके करना पड़ेगा, तो वहां तक हम उनको कन्विंस करवा पाए। और दूसरी बात वो ये पूछते हैं कि भाई एचडीएफसी बैंक की, आईसीआईसीआई बैंक की, बाकी बैंक्स की जो फीस है वो स्टेट बैंक की फीस से, पीएनबी की फीस से, बैंक ऑफ बड़ौदा की फीस से, कैनरा बैंक की फीस से 1/10 भी नहीं है। तो व्हाई दिस कॉस्ट ऑफ नेशनलाइजेशन? और हम, क्योंकि ये सारी कॉस्ट है बिकॉज ऑफ द ब्रांच ऑडिट, लेट मी बी वेरी क्लियर अबाउट इट। परंतु आज तक हम ब्रांच ऑडिट को जस्टिफाई कर पाए हैं किन्हीं कारणों से, ये फीस भी वो बियर कर रहे हैं। परंतु शायद वो एक समय आ रहा है, यहाँ आया है, जब इस बात पे क्वेश्चन मार्क लग रहा है और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस इसके ऊपर बड़ा भारी क्वेश्चन मार्क लगा रही है। ये हमको सोचना पड़ेगा। इस साल भी जो लोग ऑडिट पे जा रहे हैं, अगर हमने वैल्यू एडिशन नहीं दिया और हम यही कहते रहे, मुझे अभी तक याद है जिस वक्त ये कोविड हुआ, कोविड के दौरान में हमारे लोग ये कहते रहे साहब बिना जाए हम कैसे करेंगे। तो भाई अगर आईटी का युग आएगा तो करना ही पड़ेगा, वर्चुअल बेसिस पे करना पड़ेगा। आज वर्चुअली हम सेमिनार भी तो कर ही रहे हैं ना, वेबिनार कर रहे हैं। आज तक तो हमने नहीं सोचा था कि भाई बिना फिजिकल अटेंडेंस के भी वेबिनार हो सकते हैं, सेमिनार हो सकते हैं। और इन सेमिनार्स में अटेंडेंस भी कहीं ज्यादा है कंपैरेटिवली, इंटरेक्शन भी ज्यादा है। तो जैसे जैसे युग बदलेगा, जैसे जैसे टाइम्स बदलेंगे, टाइम से बड़ा कोई चीज ही नहीं, वक्त से बड़ी कोई चीज नहीं। आई थिंक वी हैव टू चेंज अवरसेल्व्स। और एक बात मैं सबको ये बता देना चाहता हूँ कि अगर सीनियर्स जूनियर्स को अपने फोल्ड में नहीं लेंगे, सीनियर्स के पास आईटी की नॉलेज नहीं है हमारे लोगों के पास, हमको जूनियर्स को फोल्ड में लेके जिनको आईटी की नॉलेज है उनसे काम करवाना ही पड़ेगा, और इसमें जूनियर की वैल्यू बढ़ेगी ही बढ़ेगी हर सूरत में। अब हम इसको नहीं समझना चाहते तो नहीं समझे, और समझना चाहते तो समझ ले। मैं पिछले कोविड के पीरियड में फिजिकल वेरिफिकेशन तक तो हमने ड्रोन से करवा दी, कैश वेरिफिकेशन ड्रोन्स के थ्रू हो गई। तो ये सब बदलते हुए समय का रंग है, और जब समय बदलेगा तो हमें उसके साथ बदलना ही पड़ेगा। लेट्स बी वेरी क्लियर अबाउट इट, एंड इफ वी डोंट चेंज आवरसेल्व्स द टाइम विल मेक अस चेंज। और जब दूसरा चेंज करता है, क्योंकि हमने क्वालिटी में चेंज नहीं किया, आज रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया ने अगर कुछ किया है तो हमें ज्यादा पीड़ा हो रही है इसमें। इस पीड़ा को बचाने का एक ही उपाय है, और वो उपाय है एक तो आईटी को अपने को अपना लो जितना अपना सकते हो, और दूसरा उपाय ये है कि भाई जितना वैल्यू एडिशन कर सकते हो, जितना क्वालिटी को इम्प्रूव कर सकते हो, उतना आप क्वालिटी को इम्प्रूव कर लीजिए। जिस तरीके से अभी तक ब्रांच ऑडिट चल रहा है, शायद इसका स्वरूप बदलेगा, बदल चुका है, और अगर हम नहीं बदलेंगे then it is going to be different in the times to come. मैं एक हैंड देख रहा हूं जो रेज हुआ हुआ लेनोवो टैबलेट 4 8+ से, इनको अगर आप अनम्यूट कर दें तो लेट हिम आस्क द क्वेश्चन। ये कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं, लेनोवो टैबलेट 4 8+। If he wants to ask any question, let him ask the question, और अगर वैसे ही हाथ गलती से रेज हो गया then I will proceed.
सर आप प्लीज प्रोसीड। हाँ,
I will proceed. The other thing that I will like to say is इस बार रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया ने बहुत सारी चेंजेस इंट्रोड्यूस किए हैं। 2 सर्कुलर्स है मेन। फर्स्ट अक्टूबर का सर्कुलर तो है ही, 1 अक्टूबर 2021 का मास्टर सर्कुलर है, वो बिना पढ़े तो आप जा ही नहीं सकते, वो तो बाइबल है बैंक ऑडिट के लिए। उसके अलावा 2 सर्कुलर और है, एक तो 12 नवंबर का सर्कुलर है और एक 15 फरवरी का सर्कुलर है। 12 नवंबर 2021 का और 15 फरवरी 2022 का सर्कुलर है। इन सर्कुलर्स के बिना, आप पढ़े बिना आप ऑडिट करने मत जाइएगा, ये मेरी आपसे इल्तिजा है, मेरी हाथ जोड़ के विनती है आप लोगों से। आप जब पहले जाते थे बैंक ऑडिट में तो आप जाके आके ये बोलते थे, लॉन्ग फॉर्म ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में भी लिखते थे कि भाई जो फॉर्म्स हैं बैंक्स में, बहुत सारे फॉर्म्स कई जगह ब्लैंक मिलते हैं आपको। रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया ने इस बार ये कह दिया कि नए लोन्स में तो कोई फॉर्म ब्लैंक मिलना नहीं चाहिए, सबके सब कॉलम्स भरे होने चाहिए, और जो पुराने लोन्स हैं उनका जिस दिन रिन्यूअल ड्यू होगा या रिव्यू ड्यू होगा उस दिन वो फॉर्म्स पूरे के पूरे भरे मिलने चाहिए। व्हाई दिस हैज हैपेंड? ये इसलिए हुआ कि कुछ केसेस में कोर्ट्स में जब केसेस चले पार्टीज के और बैंक्स के, तो पार्टी को प्रूव के साथ जो मुझे दिया गया था वो कुछ और था और इन्होंने जो बाद में भरा है वो कुछ और है। दीज वर कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी and the banks lost those cases, or the banks faced difficulties in those cases. तो अब रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया ने ये कहा कि भाई हर सूरत में, चाहे वो सिक्योरिटी का कॉलम हो, वो चाहे सैंक्शन अमाउंट का कॉलम हो, चाहे वो रीपेमेंट का कॉलम हो, रीपेमेंट किस डेट से शुरू होगी, किस किस डेट को ड्यू होगी, वो भरना है आपको। ये बोला गया किस किस डेट को रीपेमेंट ड्यू है वो आपको भरना है, और किस डेट को इंटरेस्ट ड्यू होगा वो भी आपको भरना। अगर ईएमआई है तो ईएमआई की ड्यू डेट्स भरनी है, और ईएमआई की ड्यू डेट्स भरने के बाद उसमें वो करना है, बाइफरकेशन करना है कि इसमें इंटरेस्ट का कंपोनेंट कितना और कैपिटल का, प्रिंसिपल का कंपोनेंट कितना। आप ये लिख के नहीं छूट सकते, आपकी मतलब बैंक ये लिख के नहीं छूट सकता कि देयर इज अ मोरेटोरियम ऑफ 3 years एंड द रीपेमेंट विल स्टार्ट आफ्टर पीरियड ऑफ 3 years। वो कहते हैं भाई रीपेमेंट डेट डालो कि किस डेट को रीपेमेंट ड्यू है, क्योंकि ये इंटरप्रिटेशन पे मत छोड़ो कि जिस दिन सैंक्शन हुआ उस डेट से 3 महीने, 3 साल, या जिस साल आपने, या जिस डेट को आपने लेटर उसको डिलीवर किया पार्टी को उस डेट से 3 साल, या जिस डेट को डिस्पर्स किया उस डेट से 3 साल। उन्होंने ये कहा कि आप जो भी करें पूरी डेट, ड्यू डेट उसमें डाल के चलें हर सूरत में। दिस इज वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट। इसका अर्थ क्या है? क्योंकि इसका नेक्स्ट पॉइंट जो है उसके, ये सारा आईटी सिस्टम के साथ कनेक्टेड है, क्योंकि इस बार जो रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया ने बैंकों को ये हिदायत दी है, डायरेक्शन दी है कि किसी भी सूरत में, अंडर नो सर्कमस्टांसेस, the NPA identification has to be manual after 30th June 2021. All identification of NPA has to be through the system. और अगर किसी बैंक का सिस्टम ये परमिट करता है कि मैनुअल आइडेंटिफिकेशन एनपीए की हो सकती है, तो आप आरबीआई को भी चिट्ठी लिख दीजिएगा, अपनी रिपोर्ट में तो क्वालिफाई कर ही दीजिएगा इसको। और दूसरी बात, उन्होंने ये कहा कि जितने स्पेशल मेंशन अकाउंट हैं, स्पेशल मेंशन अकाउंट क्या है? स्पेशल मेंशन अकाउंट होते हैं जो इर्रेगुलर होते हैं अकाउंट्स। इर्रेगुलर अकाउंट का मतलब ये है कि SMA 0 वो है, स्पेशल मेंशन अकाउंट की एब्रीविएटेड फॉर्म है SMA। SMA 0 वो है जिसमें इर्रेगुलरिटी 1 दिन से लेकर 30 दिन तक की है। SMA 1 अकाउंट वो है जिसमें इर्रेगुलरिटी 31 दिन से लेकर 60 दिन की है। और SMA 2 अकाउंट वो है जिसमें इर्रेगुलरिटी 61 दिन से लेके 90 दिन तक की। उन्होंने कहा सब के सब बैंक, एवरी बैंक विल जनरेट एन डेली रिटर्न, ए डेली रिटर्न एट द एंड, एक डेली एंड प्रोसेस करेंगे जिसमें SMA 0, SMA 1 और SMA 2 आइडेंटिफाई किए जाएंगे। क्यों कहा उन्होंने? क्योंकि बैंक्स क्या कर रहे थे कि एनपीए जो आइडेंटिफाई करते थे, कभी मंथ एंड पे कर लिया, कभी क्वार्टर एंड पे कर लिया, कभी कुछ कर लिया। उन्होंने कहा एनपीए भी जो आइडेंटिफाई होगा वो डेली बेसिस पे होगा। एनपीए की डेट जिस दिन ड्यू डेट से 90 दिन ऊपर हो गए, जिस दिन भी ड्यू डेट से 90 दिन ऊपर हो गए उस दिन अकाउंट एनपीए है। इट इज नॉट एट द एंड ऑफ द मंथ, इट इज नॉट एट द एंड ऑफ द क्वार्टर अंडर एनी सर्कमस्टांसेस। तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? करना ये पड़ेगा कि बैंक में जाके ये सिस्टम देखना पड़ेगा। सबसे पहले ये सिस्टम देखना पड़ेगा कि क्या बैंक ने, और उन्होंने एक लाइन और लिखी है उसके अंदर, इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ द टाइम कंज्यूम्ड। उन्होंने कहा कितना भी टाइम लगे बैंक को ये करने में, डेली एंड प्रोसेस एनपीएस की और स्पेशल मेंशन अकाउंट की, बैंक को ये करना ही है हर सूरत में। और अगर बैंक को करना है तो बैंक का सिस्टम ही करेगा। इसीलिए उन्होंने कहा कि जो ड्यू डेट्स है ना वो आप भरिए फॉर्म में भरेंगे तो सिस्टम में भरेंगे, और सिस्टम में होंगी, सिस्टम में फीड होंगी, तभी वो ड्यू डेट निकालेगा और ड्यू डेट से फिर SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2 क्रिएट करेगा। अगर सिस्टम में आपने डेट्स ही नहीं फीड कर रखी कि किस किस दिन ड्यू है, इंटरेस्ट आपका किस दिन ड्यू है, फिर क्या होगा? अभी मेरे पास एक क्वेश्चन आया कि भाई अभी इसी के ऊपर फ्लैश हुआ कि इज देयर एनी लिस्ट ऑफ द सर्कुलर्स। लिस्ट ऑफ द सर्कुलर्स आपको अजय जी देके जाएंगे। मैंने आपको डेट्स दे दी, ये 2 सर्कुलर, 3 सर्कुलर्स की। बाकी कंप्लीट लिस्ट विल बी गिवन टू यू बाय अजय जी, और अगर आप बोलेंगे तो वो आपको भेज भी देंगे पूरी की पूरी लिस्ट सर्कुलर्स की, फॉर दैट मैटर। तो जिसका जो क्वेश्चन हो फ्लैश करते जाइए, मैं उसको साथ के साथ आंसर करता रहूंगा, मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। आपको सिस्टम में जाके ये देखना है कि सिस्टम में अगर इंफॉर्मेशन ही फीड नहीं होगी, अगर आपने ये फीड नहीं कर रखा कि उसमें स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट किस डेट को देनी है, अगर आपने ये फीड नहीं कर रखा कि इंटरेस्ट डेबिट उसको किस डेट में होना है, फिर क्या होगा? तो फिर ड्यू डेट है ही नहीं ना। अगर ड्यू डेट नहीं है तो आप एनपीए या एसएमए 0, एसएमए 1, एसएमए 2 कैसे निकालेंगे? और अगर वो आप नहीं कर सकते तो मेन रिपोर्ट में अपना डिस्क्लेमर डालिएगा। मेन रिपोर्ट की बात कर रहा हूँ, लॉन्ग फॉर्म ऑडिट रिपोर्ट की नहीं बात कर रहा हूँ आपको, कि भाई हम आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि इन्होंने ऐसा काम ही नहीं किया हुआ जिससे ये पता लग सके कि भाई ड्यू डेट है क्या। तो एसएमए 0, एसएमए 1, एसएमए 2 जो है वो करेक्टली आप कंप्यूट ही नहीं कर सकते किसी भी सूरत में। इसीलिए वो बार बार ये अब कह रहे हैं कि भाई फॉर्म्स भरो, फॉर्म्स भरोगे तो उससे सिस्टम में इंफॉर्मेशन जाएगी। और अगर बैंक ये इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं दे रहा सिस्टम में, देन देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम। आपको याद हो, आप जो पहला सर्कुलर था वो क्रैश क्रेडिट को एनपीए करने की बात करता था, पर्टिकुलरली विद रेफरेंस टू एक्सेस ऑफ डेबिट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट कंपेयर टू द क्रेडिट्स इन द अकाउंट। वो कहता था अगर क्रेडिट सफिशिएंट नहीं है टू मीट द डेबिट ऑफ द इंटरेस्ट, यहाँ बिल्कुल क्रेडिट है ही नहीं, इन दैट केस वो वर्ड यूज करता था एज एट द एंड ऑफ द बैलेंस शीट डेट, एज एट द बैलेंस शीट डेट, इन दैट केस द अकाउंट विल बी क्लासिफाइड एज एनपी। अब उन्होंने वो वर्ड जो है ना एज एट द बैलेंस शीट डेट वो निकाल दिया उसमें से, वो वर्ड ही जीरो कर दिया उसमें से। इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब ये है कि आपके सिस्टम को ये भी इंफॉर्मेशन वर्चुअली डेली बेसिस पर कलेक्ट करनी पड़ेगी कि डेबिट इंटरेस्ट का कितना था और क्रेडिट इंटरेस्ट का कितना है, और क्वार्टरली बेसिस पे आपको ये इंफॉर्मेशन निकालनी ही पड़ेगी हर सूरत में। और उस बेसिस पे अगर अकाउंट एनपीए हो रहा होगा तो वो अकाउंट को आपको एनपीए करना ही पड़ेगा। और फिर आपका सिस्टम ऐसा होना चाहिए जो ये बताए कि लास्ट स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट फीड कब हुई थी और लास्ट उसके बेसिस पे डीपी कब तक कैलकुलेट हो रही है। अगर उसके 6 महीने से ऊपर हो गए, इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस द अकाउंट शुड बी क्लासिफाइड बाय एज एनपीए बाय द सिस्टम इटसेल्फ, आप नहीं करोगे उसको। और अगर ये प्रोवाइडेड नहीं है सिस्टम में, देन इट इज अ प्रॉब्लम है। फिर आपको जो लिखना होगा आप लिखेंगे। फिर एक नॉन फाइनेंशियल पैरामीटर ये कहता है कि भाई हर अकाउंट जो रिन्यू नहीं हुआ या रिव्यू नहीं हुआ फॉर ए पीरियड ऑफ एक्सीडिंग 180 डेज, in that case that account has to be classified as a non performing account। हमारे तो ऐसे ऐसे बैंक हैं जिन्होंने 4-4 साल तक रिन्यू रिव्यू नहीं किया, शॉर्ट टर्म रिव्यू ही करते रहे, शॉर्ट रिव्यू ही करते रहे अकाउंट्स को। इसीलिए अब उन्होंने कहा सिस्टम में डालो, सिस्टम में ड्यू डेट डालो रिव्यू की और रिन्यूअल की। और अगर नहीं हुआ 180 दिन तक तो एक बार 2 बार तो आप फिर भी शॉर्ट रिव्यू परमिट कर दो। उसके बाद द अकाउंट हैज टू बी क्लासिफाइड एज एनपीए। एक्चुअली तो अगर सिस्टम के थ्रू आएगा, अगर सिस्टम के थ्रू आएगा तो वो 180 दिन के बाद अपने आप एनपीए कर देगा। 180 दिन बहुत होते हैं टू रिव्यू ए पर्टिकुलर अकाउंट और टू रिन्यू ए पर्टिकुलर अकाउंट। ये सब चीजें इस बार आपको देखनी पड़ेंगी, और पर्टिकुलरली इट इज विद रेफरेंस टू द सिस्टम्स। और जब मैं सिस्टम्स की बात करता हूं तो इससे ज्यादा जरूरी और कोई बात नहीं हो सकती जो मैंने अभी आपको बताई है। फिर उन्होंने एक बात और कही, उन्होंने ये कहा कि अगर हाउ मेनी शॉर्ट रिव्यूज, मैंने बोला मैक्सिमम 2, वो भी 3-3 महीने, इससे ऊपर मत अलाउ करेगा। वैसे तो इतने भी मेरे हिसाब से तो एक शॉर्ट रिव्यू से ज्यादा परमिटेड नहीं, रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया की गाइडलाइंस नहीं, पर रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया से जब आप पर्सनली अब बात करते हैं तो वो बिल्कुल क्लियर है कि 2 से ज्यादा शॉर्ट रिव्यू नहीं हो सकते किसी भी सूरत में। 2 शॉर्ट रिव्यू का मतलब ये 180 दिन और हो गए, so don't permit that to happen। There is a particular bank in North India, वहां पे तो 4-4 साल से रिव्यू नहीं हुए थे अकाउंट्स। So my humble request to you is to have a very serious look at this particular aspect। दूसरा उन्होंने ये कहा कि अगर आपका पहले इंटरेस्ट जो था टर्म लोन्स के ऊपर आप डेबिट करते थे, और जिस डेट को आप डेबिट करते थे उस महीने की एंड की डेट से आप फिर 90 दिन कैलकुलेट करना शुरू करते थे। अब उन्होंने कहा ना, ये कुछ नहीं, मंथ एंड की बात ही छोड़ दो, जो भी ड्यू, जिस डेट को आपने इंटरेस्ट डेबिट किया उसके बाद के 90 दिन की बात करो ना, सीधी सीधी। अब वही मैंने जो पहले आपको कहा, आइडेंटिफिकेशन ऑफ एनपीए हैज टू बी बेस्ड अपॉन डे टू डे बेसिस, इट विल नॉट बी बेस्ड अपॉन मंथली बेसिस और क्वार्टरली बेसिस और एनी अदर बेसिस। अगर कोई आपको एडवांसेस की स्टेटमेंट देता है और उसमें डेट ऑफ एनपीए लिखता है 31 मार्च, 31 जनवरी, 28 फरवरी, 30 जून, तो बिल्कुल गलत है, ये ध्यान कर लीजिएगा। उसको आप उसको चेक कर लीजिएगा कि वाकई में ये 30 जून को एनपीए हुआ था, या ये होना चाहिए था एनपीए 2 जून को, 2 जून को होना चाहिए था, तो 2 जून को होगा भाई, सीधी सी बात है। तो दीज थिंग्स हैव बीन ब्रॉट इन। और एक बात उन्होंने और कही, अपग्रेडेशन ऑफ अकाउंट्स। इन्होंने अभी क्वेश्चन एक किसी का था कि भाई 25 दिसंबर को अकाउंट डेबिट हुआ, तो 25 दिसंबर को अगर इंटरेस्ट ड्यू डेबिट हुआ है तो जिस दिन उसके 90 दिन पूरे होंगे, ड्यू डेट जो है जिस दिन डेबिट हो गया वो भी आपका डेट में काउंट होगा। उसके बाद के 90 दिन ले लीजिए, 25 से 31 और 31 के बाद के दिन, उसके बाद के दिन, तो वो दिन लेके देन यू हैव टू प्रोसीड फर्दर। So that is very, very clear. It has to be a period of 90 days. It is not from 31st December that you will be calculating 90 days. The account will become NPA in the month of March itself. Let's be clear. आप ये नहीं कह सकते 31 दिसंबर को हुए इसलिए 31 दिसंबर के बाद 90 दिन नहीं हो रहे इसलिए the account will not become NPA. The account will become NPA in that particular case. The other point that one you will like to say is कि जब अकाउंट एनपीए हो जाता है, सब स्टैंडर्ड हो जाता है, और सब स्टैंडर्ड से कई बार डाउटफुल कैटेगरी में चला जाता है, तो जब वो डाउटफुल कैटेगरी में जाता है या सब स्टैंडर्ड होता है, उसको अगर अपग्रेड करना हो तो क्या करना है? पहले जितना बिजनेसमैन था, बिजनेसमैन तो शूड है ही, बिजनेसमैन का अपना तरीका है काम करने का। बिजनेसमैन क्या करता था, अगर उसकी 4 फैसिलिटीज है, सपोज कीजिए आप XY कंपनी से डील कर रहे हैं, XY कंपनी का कैश क्रेडिट भी है, XY कंपनी का टर्म लोन भी है, XY कंपनी की आपकी बिल डिस्काउंटिंग भी है, XY की कोई और लिमिट भी है, तो अगर एक अकाउंट, अगर एक फैसिलिटी एनपीए होती थी, सपोज कीजिए टर्म लोन के बेसिस पे फैसिलिटी एनपीए हुई, तो सारी की सारी फैसिलिटीज एनपीए हो जाती थी, और भी होती, द सेम थिंग विल बी मेंटेन। पर बिजनेसमैन क्या करता था, बिजनेसमैन ये करता था कि जो मेरी फैसिलिटी के बेसिस पे एनपीए हुआ था उसके पैसे जमा करवा देता था, पूरे उसके पूरे मतलब इरेगुलरिटी उसकी दूर कर देता था। पर इन बिटवीन बाकी फैसिलिटीज जो थी वो इरेगुलर हो जाती थी, कई बार कैश क्रेडिट इरेगुलर हो सकता था, आपका बिल डिस्काउंटिंग इरेगुलर हो सकता था, एलसीज डिवॉल्व हो सकती थी, ये चलता रहता था। अब उन्होंने कहा कि आप एक फैसिलिटी को रेगुलराइज करके बाकी अकाउंट्स को एनपीए होने से नहीं बचा सकते। अगर आप किसी अकाउंट को अपग्रेड करना चाहते हो तो उसकी जितनी भी फैसिलिटीज हैं, जितनी भी फैसिलिटीज हैं, वो सारी की सारी फैसिलिटीज जो है उनकी इरेगुलरिटी खत्म होनी चाहिए अंडर ऑल सर्कमस्टांसेस। देन ओनली यू विल बी सेव्ड, देन ओनली इट विल बी कंसिडर्ड दैट यू हैव no the account can be upgraded in those circumstances. So what one is trying to tell you is कि ये बहुत जरूरी है कि अगर एक अकाउंट को अपग्रेड होना है तो उसकी सब फैसिलिटीज, आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल। आपका एक टर्म लोन था, वो उसकी वजह से एनपीए हो गया जब उसका ओवरड्यू हुआ 90 दिन से ऊपर। उसके बाद एक आपकी एलसी डिवॉल्व हो गई, पर उसके अभी 90 दिन पूरे नहीं हुए, आपने टर्म लोन की पेमेंट कर दी, उसकी इरेगुलरिटी दूर कर दी और आपने कहा मेरा अकाउंट अपग्रेड कर दो क्योंकि टर्म लोन की मैंने इरेगुलरिटी दूर कर दी। यू कैन नॉट डू इट नाउ। It is very, very clear that under no circumstances You will be able to do that. Now what you have to do is, under all circumstances, even जो LC devolve हुई है उसकी भी आपको पेमेंट करके उसको रेगुलराइज करना पड़ेगा before the account can be upgraded by you. एक क्वेश्चन आया, can a bank sanction CC when DP can be calculated? Oblique stock statement requirement is for more than 1 month. DP valid for 6 months, 1 year. How SMA classification will be done? ये मुझे क्वेश्चन समझ नहीं आया, पर जितना मैं समझा उसका मैं आंसर दे देता हूँ. प्रूडेंशियल नॉर्म्स ये कहती हैं कि स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट आपको फाइल करनी है हर महीने. सपोज कीजिए आपने 1 महीने फाइल की, उसके बाद 6 महीने तक फाइल नहीं की, और डीपी कैलकुलेटेड हुई है आपकी बेस्ड अपॉन द स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट व्हिच इज मोर देन 6 months old, then the account has to be classified as NPA, and in between it will fall under the SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2 category depending upon the period. That is what it means basically. So that's my answer so far as this particular part is concerned. अब किसी ने पूछा what is reasonable size of sample of advances in the case of a branch? Large advance में तो आपका कोई sample है ही नहीं. Large advance की definition उन्होंने दे रखी है कि जो आपका 10% से ऊपर का पोर्टफोलियो है. सपोज कीजिए आप किसी ब्रांच का ऑडिट करने गए हैं, उसका 75 करोड़ का टोटल एडवांस है, प्लस नॉन फंडेड है उसकी 25 करोड़ की, तो 100 करोड़ हो गया. तो 10 करोड़ का जो अकाउंट है, your rupees 10 crore, 10% of the total advances fund based, non fund based, or 10 crore whichever is lesser, वो आपका large advance में fall करता है, and that large advance has to be done 100%. That has to be done 100%. आपके पास उसमें कोई choice नहीं है उसको करने की under any circumstances. तो ये बात को आप जरा बिल्कुल मद्देनजर रखिएगा. Under no circumstances you can do any sampling so far as large advances are concerned. Sampling is to be done only in the case of the smaller advances. वहां पे आप 10% से 25% कुछ भी ले लीजिएगा depending upon, और उसमें भी जो आपके लोन्स SMA 0, SMA 1, particularly SMA 1 और SMA 2 में जो अकाउंट्स हैं उनको अच्छी तरह से चेक कर लीजिएगा. In case of loan against stocks and debtors, party give only partial debtors. ये क्या partial debtors नहीं देती, ज्यादा देती debtors को हमेशा. Creditor details saying that loan is only X amount, so I need not give full details for consideration. No. The party is supposed to give you full details of the debtors. Otherwise, आप निकालेंगे कैसे एजिंग क्या debtors की? उसकी अगर आपको टर्नओवर नहीं पता, उसके डेटर्स पूरे के पूरे नहीं पता, उसके क्रेडिटर्स नहीं पता, हाउ विल यू डू इट? और इन केसेस में खास तौर पे जहां पे इस तरीके के केसेस हो, वहां पे एक काम जरूर कर लीजिएगा कि वहां पे आप पिछले सालों में जो उसने स्टेटमेंट्स फाइल कर रखे हैं फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ डीपी, उनको कंपेयर कर लीजिए उसकी बैलेंस शीट के साथ, और आपको पता लग जाएगा सब कुछ. यू विल कम टू नो. क्योंकि most of the balance sheets will show lesser debtors, most of the balance sheets will show lesser stocks, but much higher creditors. और अगर वो situation हो और उसमें अगर आपकी डीपी ना निकलती हो पेड स्टॉक के बेसिस पे, तो जो आपने करना हो कर दीजिएगा, उसका अकाउंट को एनपीए करना हो, उसमें क्या दिक्कत है आपको? इस सिविल रिपोर्ट रिक्वायर्ड इन लोन, अब तो बिल्कुल बिना सिविल के कर ही नहीं सकते, कोई लोन ही नहीं कर सकता कोई भी बैंक. No bank can do the loaning without the civil facility. और उससे भी ज्यादा जरूरी है, एक बात आपको और बता दूं, क्योंकि मैंने वो रंजीत जी का एक जगह लेक्चर सुना, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा एक्चुअली. रंजीत अग्रवाल जी का डिड ए फैबुलस जॉब. हम साउथ में इकट्ठे थे, SIRC का प्रोग्राम था, और उन्होंने बोला कि जब बैंक वालों के पास जाते हैं, बैंक वाले कहते हैं ये देखिए ये किसी ने प्रोविजनल बैलेंस शीट दे रखी है, किसी ने कंपाइल्ड फ्रॉम बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स दे रखा है, और वो दे क्या रखा है? बिना यूडिन के दे रखा है. तो जहां पे यूडिन नहीं है वो डॉक्यूमेंट आपने, यू डोंट हैव टू रिलाई अपॉन दैट डॉक्यूमेंट, रादर दैट अकाउंट विल हैव टू बी डन थॉरोली, दैट एंड देयर इज एवरी लाइक्लीहुड दैट देयर इज सम काइंड ऑफ अ फ्रॉड इन दैट अकाउंट. बड़ा अच्छा हिंट दिया उन्होंने, हमने भी पकड़ लिया उस दिन से. हम भी जहां पे जाते हैं वो बोल देते हैं, सीधी सी बात है. तो रंजीत जी को धन्यवाद है इस बात का कि उन्होंने ये पॉइंट रेज किया कहीं पे. Another thing that I would like to say is that this circular 12th November also says, हम सबको पता है कि हमको जहां पे अकाउंट एनपीए होता है, जिस डेट को हम अकाउंट एनपीए आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं, उस पे जो भी इंटरेस्ट अनरियलाइज होता है वो इंटरेस्ट हमको रिवर्स करना होता है। और इस सर्कुलर ने एक नई बात की, और इस सर्कुलर ने ये कहा कि जो अकाउंट आपके, जिस अकाउंट में आपने खुद इंटरेस्ट का मॉरेटोरियम दिया किसी को, कभी आप इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट जो है 2 साल बाद शुरू करना, या 1 साल बाद शुरू करना, 6 महीने बाद शुरू करना, 2 साल बाद शुरू करना, 3 साल बाद शुरू करना, और अकाउंट एनपीए हुआ मॉरेटोरियम के बाद और मॉरेटोरियम पीरियड का इंटरेस्ट नहीं आया है, तो ये मान के चल रहे हैं रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया वाले, एंड आई थिंक दिस इज अ करेक्ट प्रिजम्पशन कि बैंक ने तो ये समझ ही लिया था कि इस पर्टिकुलर पीरियड में, मॉरेटोरियम पीरियड में, उसकी कंपनी की, एंटिटी की कैश जनरेटिंग कैपेसिटी नहीं है, और अगर कैश जनरेटिंग कैपेसिटी उसकी नहीं है तो उस पीरियड का आप इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेक्ट ही नहीं कर सकते। और आपने ये मान के चले थे कि ये तो प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट का पार्ट है, तो वो कहते हैं उस जो मॉरेटोरियम पीरियड का इंटरेस्ट है, अगर वो नहीं आया वो आपको रिवर्स नहीं करना। उसके बाद जो आपने डेबिट किया और वो नहीं आया, उसको आप रिवर्स करवा दीजिए, पर मॉरेटोरियम पीरियड का इंटरेस्ट आप रिवर्स नहीं करवाएंगे। आई थिंक दिस इज अगेन वन ऑफ द वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट पार्ट्स so far as this circulars are concerned। और एक मेन सर्कुलर में चेंज जो उन्होंने रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग में दिया, मास्टर सर्कुलर में जो चेंज दिया रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग में, थोड़ी सी तो डेफिनेशन बदली रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग की, उसको वाइडन कर दिया, बाकी कुछ बदली नहीं। उनका मतलब यही है कि अगर किसी को फाइनेंशियल डिफिकल्टी और उसकी वजह से आप कोई भी उसकी टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन मॉडिफाई करते हैं, उसको कोई नई तरीके से उसको मार्जिन उसका घटा देते हैं, किसी तरीके से डेटर्स का मार्जिन घटा दिया, स्टॉक्स का मार्जिन घटा दिया, देन इट विल बी कंसिडर्ड टू बी रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग। परंतु जो चेंज की उन्होंने वो ये की कि जब एक अकाउंट रीस्ट्रक्चर होता था तो पहले सिर्फ कंसेप्ट था स्पेसिफाइड पीरियड का, कि अपग्रेड आप उसको कब कर सकते हैं। वो कहता था कि स्पेसिफाइड पीरियड के बाद आप उसको अपग्रेड कर सकते हो, और 1 year, for 1 year was the minimum period after which you could have upgraded that account. Specified period could not be lesser than 1 year in any case. And during the specified period, 20% of the principal plus capitalized amount of interest had to be received promptly. उससे कम का स्पेसिफाइड पीरियड नहीं हो सकता था। और अगर आपकी 4 फैसिलिटीज थी और जिस पे लॉन्गेस्ट मॉरेटोरियम आपने दिया हुआ था, उस मॉरेटोरियम वाले, लॉन्गेस्ट मॉरेटोरियम वाले की जब तक परफॉर्मेंस सेटिस्फैक्टरी नहीं होगी, जब तक उसका 20% प्लस कैपिटलाइज्ड अमाउंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट नहीं आएगा, तब तक वो अकाउंट अपग्रेड नहीं हो सकता था किसी भी सूरत में। तो the point that I am trying to drive you home is कि अब उन्होंने एक और कंसेप्ट इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया मॉनिटरिंग पीरियड का। और मॉनिटरिंग के पीरियड का कंसेप्ट ये है, वो भी 1 साल से कम नहीं हो सकता, परंतु उसमें 10% का क्लॉज लगाया कि अगर आपका प्रिंसिपल और कैपिटलाइज्ड अमाउंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट 10% का आ गया है तो आप स्टिल उसको अपग्रेड करने की बात कर सकते हैं। परंतु ये कहा कि अगर मॉनिटरिंग पीरियड में कोई भी डिफॉल्ट है और अगर आपने उसको रीस्ट्रक्चर किया, अब मॉनिटरिंग पीरियड में उसकी परफॉर्मेंस सेटिस्फैक्टरी नहीं थी, आपने उसको रीस्ट्रक्चर कर दिया, 10% भी नहीं आया था और आपने उसको रीस्ट्रक्चर कर दिया, तो उसमें कम से कम 15% का एडिशनल प्रोविजन आपको करना। जहां कहीं पे भी रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग हो मॉनिटरिंग पीरियड में नॉन परफॉर्मेंस की वजह से, वहां पे आपको 15% का प्रोविजन एडिशनल करना, पर इसको भी छोड़ दीजिए। इसमें जो सबसे क्रूशियल बात है, पहले क्या होता था कि पार्टी ये करती थी कि स्पेसिफाइड पीरियड में 20% देना भाई, तो किसी महीने में पैसा है तो दे दिया, नहीं है तो उसको थोड़ा और देर से दे दिया। परंतु स्पेसिफाइड पीरियड के आते आते आप 20% उसको दे देते थे। उन्होंने कहा ये नहीं चलेगा भाई, ये टीमिंग एंड लेडिंग नहीं चलेगी। अंडर नो सर्कमस्टांसेस यू कैन डू दिस टीमिंग एंड लेडिंग। उसमें फुट नोट में दे दिया कि अगर किसी भी डेट को कोई डिफॉल्ट है, अगर कहीं पे भी आप SMA 0 में फंस गए, SMA 1 में फंस गए या SMA 2 में फंस गए, then that particular account cannot be considered for the purpose of upgradation. ये माना जाएगा कि रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग एसेट है। परंतु MSME के केस में एक बात उन्होंने की, अगर MSME के अकाउंट को आपने रिस्ट्रक्चर किया है, उस केस में 25 करोड़ तक है, उस केस के अंदर अगर 30 दिन का भी ओवरड्यू का भी हो गया तो परमिटेड है। तो नीतीश जी, ये चेंजेस थी इस बार की, मैं सिर्फ इस पे ही फोकस करना चाह रहा था और यही आपको बताना चाह रहा था मेंबर्स को। जो उनके क्वेश्चंस आए थे, मैंने कोशिश की है कि सबके सब मैं आंसर कर दूं किसी तरीके से अपने उसमें। बाकी अब अजय जी आज आ चुके हैं, ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं, सो आई विल डेफिनेटली टेक लीव ऑफ यू। थैंक्स अ लॉट टू एवरीबॉडी एंड विद अजय जी अराउंड मुझे कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है, मुझे पता है ही विल बी एबल टू टेक केयर ऑफ इट। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू अमरजीत सर फॉर द नाइस सेशन। मैं जस्ट सम अप करना चाहूंगा, सर ने जैसे कहा कि बैंक ब्रांच ऑडिट जैसा हम करते हैं, आने वाले टाइम में शायद वैसा हम नहीं कर पाए until and unless we give value addition to bank just like we give to our private entities। जब तक आप वैल्यू एडिशन नहीं दोगे ऑडिट के अंदर में, तब तक ऑडिट करने के मतलब नहीं निकलेगा। सेम थिंग दैट वी ऑल चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स बिलीव दैट कि 10 दिन के अंदर में अच्छा पैसा आ जाता है एंड एवरीथिंग इज रेगुलराइज्ड। वो छोड़ के भी वी नीड टू इंट्रोस्पेक्ट मोर एंड ट्राई टू गिव वैल्यू एडिशन टू आवर ऑडिट। अगर डिफॉल्ट है, फॉल्ट है, तो वी नीड टू फाइंड आउट दैट दोज थिंग्स। आई थिंक सर फॉरेंसिक ऑडिट और बाकी चीजों
तो ठीक है, उसको रिपोर्ट जरूर करना है यार, उसका MOC जरूर देना। मैं ये कह रहा हूँ बार बार,
राइट सर,
मैं इस ग्राउंड पे MOC नहीं छोड़ सकता कि बैंक मैनेजर नहीं मान रहा, DGM नहीं मान रहा या कोई और नहीं मान रहा। आई हैव टू डू माय ड्यूटी, आई हैव टू परफॉर्म माय ड्यूटी, दैट्स ऑल।
राइट। और क्योंकि सब बैंक सब डिजिटाइजेशन मोड पे जा रही हैं, डिजिटाइजेशन इन्वॉल्व हो रहा है, एज सर ने सेड कि ओल्ड ऑडिटर्स जो भी हो गए हैं, जो एज फैक्टर के हिसाब से आ गए हैं, they have to handhold the juniors handhold जो technology friendly हैं and who can extract more data and do more compilation work so that आप audit में value additions दे सको। तो you need to build up a team जहाँ पे experience और energy दोनों साथ में रहे और कम टाइम फ्रेम के अंदर में आप ज्यादा value addition बैंक को दे पाए।
देखिए मैं फिर एक बात जो मैंने शुरू में कही रिपीट कर रहा हूँ, seniors can provide guidance कि what is to be checked, परंतु वो चेक कैसे करना है वो करेगा आपका सिस्टम।
राइट सर,
वो आपका जूनियर करेगा, वो आप नहीं कर पाओगे, ये मैं बता सकता हूँ। आने वाले समय में हमारी एज वाले तो वैसे ही नहीं कर पाएंगे, सच्ची बात ये हम। पर हाँ, हम इसलिए इम्पोर्टेंट हैं, मैं अपने आप को इम्पोर्टेंट बोल रहा हूं, हम इसलिए इम्पोर्टेंट है क्योंकि हमारे पास बाल या तो नहीं है या सफेद है, और वो एक्सपीरियंस की भी कुछ कभी कीमत नहीं होती एक्सपीरियंस की। तो वो एक्सपीरियंस से जो हम ये बता,
सर आप म्यूटेड है सर।
सर म्यूट हो गया आपका, अनम्यूट करिए।
अमरजीत सर आप म्यूटेड है सर, प्लीज अनम्यूट कर लीजिए।
इज इट ओके?
हाँ सर, अभी वॉइस आ रही है सर।
आ रही है। मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि इस पूरे सिस्टम में आने वाले सालों में किसी भी सूरत में आप जूनियर्स को इग्नोर नहीं कर पाएंगे, क्योंकि जूनियर्स आर द वन जो आईटी में बिल्कुल हैंड्स ऑन है। हम हैंड्स ऑन नहीं है, हमारा तो आईटी बड़ा लिमिटेड सा है यार, सीधी सी बात। हमें मानना चाहिए ना, जो हमारी डेफिशिएंसी हमें मानना चाहिए, जिसका जो स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट है उसको मानना चाहिए। और बिना जूनियर को टीम में लिए ये नहीं हो पाएगा किसी भी सूरत में।
राइट सर,
ओके, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू फॉर द इनसाइट सर। और सर हैज आल्सो गिवन फ्यू इंपॉर्टेंट चेकलिस्ट जो आरबीआई का मैंडेट वगैरह है, We need to carry all those checklists with us. Thank you, sir, for sparing time and giving us this insight.
Thanks to Ajay ji. Thanks to Ajay ji. हमने तो अजय जी से सीखा सब कुछ, सीधी सी बात ये। चलो।
हमारे नेक्स्ट स्पीकर अजय जी हैं।
मेरी कोई और मीटिंग है। मेरी कोई और मीटिंग है। I will have to leave Ajay ji with folded hands. Apologies. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Views exchange के behalf से a lot of thanks to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining today and sharing the valuable time and knowledge with the members. Thank you.
Friends, we have our next speaker Ajay Jain ji with us. I'll just see whether our committee member has not joined in. I welcome you, sir, to this forum of Views Exchange Chartered Accountant Study Circle. This is the last session. I think it is very much important session for all of us. A lot of things which Amarjit sir said will be explained by Ajay Jain ji. I hope everybody will be enjoying this session. I would take the honor to introduce Ajay Jain ji in front of the August House. He is a practicing CA from New Delhi, and he has a vast experience of over 30 years in the field of bank audits and especially concurrent audit. He has spoken in more than 1,000 workshops, seminars, and certificate courses of ICI and study circle and associations. We welcome you, sir, and look for an insightful session from your end, sir. Over to you.
Can you give me the admin rights for the PPT?
We also welcome RC Jhawarji, the past president of Views Exchange. Welcome, sir.
My voice is audible, clear?
Yes, sir, it's audible, sir.
Screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
First of all, I am thankful to Calcutta team. The screen I can see Naveen Khemka ji, Nitesh Moore ji, Jawhar Sahab, और past president. अभी screen पे मैं एक आपका program, this program is being watched by Amritsar's team also. If I am right, I have seen Mr. Gaurav Gupta from Amritsar. He is online. नीतीश जी आपके नाम का कमाल है।
नहीं सर आप लोग आशीर्वाद है।
Anyway, let us come to the point. चोपड़ा सर ने ओवरव्यू दिया है अभी, अब जरा उसको डिटेल डिस्कस कर लेते हैं उस ओवरव्यू को। क्योंकि बीच में कुछ मेंबर्स की क्वेरीज थी ड्यू डेट को लेकर के, वो मैं सारी जो इस नवंबर 12 के सर्कुलर में आई है स्क्रीन में एक each and every point I will clear so that we can well understand. No doubt that actually what I will do, Nitesh ji, I will give you a complete list of the circular which the members will need during the audit. It is covering around 40 circulars, and then you can circulate to your members as well as
we will email to the members directly.
Yes, that I will give. Before start of the session, I would like to tell to the members, every year we were discussing this issue, but particularly this year because some new circulars have come, like this November 12 circular. Already last year some automation circular have come. Now this complete audit report, including LFAR, it is IT driven. It is complete audit, it is IT driven. With some important of the point of the LFAR I will discuss, because first of all we must know before going to the audit what we need from the bank. That is very important. And on the very first day, we should write to the bank, as per the requirement of Reserve Bank of India, as per Reserve Bank of India, this particular circular, please keep ready these details for the audit. And if the bank is not providing these details or these audit logs, then we will not be able to comment. Rather, we have to qualify. But we can do that. We can qualify that point only when we are asking the detail and they are not providing us. If we are not asking the detail, then we cannot write we have not received the details. So this is my humble request. So I will discuss each and every important audit trail also, what we need. We have to upgrade ourselves. Regarding this November 12, 2021 circular, First of all, we should know what is the effective date of applicability of the each clause. All clauses are effective from November 12, 2021, except three clauses. Except three clauses for which the specific date has been mentioned in the circular. First of all, the first clause 2 of this circular, what it says, because usually what happens when we go to the small branches or agriculture branches or some small loans are there, so they are keeping the agreements blank. They don't write what is the due date for payment, what is the moratorium period, when the repayment will start, what is the when the moratorium period will start, when it will end, what is the bifurcation of the EMI, what is the interest and what is the principal. So I think this problem has been solved by the Reserve Bank of India this time. But this clause is applicable, mandatory, from December 31st, 2021. So what it says, these instructions shall be complied with at the earliest, but not later than December 31st, 2021 for fresh loans. So any fresh loan given by the bank after 31st December 2021, they have to write, clearly specify the moratorium period, interest, EMI, and due dates, all these things. And what is about the old loans? It is mentioned for the existing loans, as and when the renewal or review take place, then all these details should be captured in the agreement or the file. So this is the point which has come in this circular. Next, this is an important clause, clause number 3, 4, and 5. Classification of SMA and non-performing asset. These are the very important clause. First, we should read out what was the earlier clause. Earlier clause was to recognize the stress assets immediately on default. Earlier the word was that. Now RBI says we should not wait for the default. It should be done on continuous basis. Intervals are intended to be continuous on day-to-day basis. When the amount becomes, this clause is effective from November 12, 2021. Suppose bank is having some term loans. 5 loans are having the due date of the payment of the EMI, say 15th of month. Some loans are having the due date of 25th of the month. Some loans are having a 31st of the month, the last date of the month. So what the bank has to do? As and when due dates arises, they should do the day-end processing on the date on which this amount is due for payment. And at the end of the day, they should find out whether that amount is paid or not. If not paid, it will become overdue on the same day. Earlier, there was a confusion about this. What we used to think, if due date is say for the 31st of the month, or say 31st of the December, then we should give a benefit of the one day. If the due date is 31st, if it is not paid, it will become overdue on 1st. Now RBI has clarified, no, it is not 1st. If it is not paid on due date, day of the end of the day processing of the relevant date has to be done by the bank, and they should identify if not paid as overdue on the same day. That days is inclusive of 90 days. 90 days, to calculate the 90 days, that date on which it is due date, if not paid, that will be included. So now what will happen this year? Suppose this is a non-leap year. Earlier, sometime we used to think if it is not paid on 31st of December, then it will become overdue on 1st. 1st to 31st, there is 90 days. Language is if it is overdue more than 90 days, then account will be NPA. But now, if not paid on 31st, it will be declared as overdue on 31st. And then it will be more than 90 days overdue as on 31st, account will be classified as NPA. It means any principal or amount or interest, whatever it is, if it is due up to 31st of December and not paid, it will become NPA. Now back to this continuous day-end processing. What is the meaning of that? Now it means bank has to do every day day-end processing, because sometimes interest is debited. If it is not paid on the due date, then the date on which it is due for payment, end of the day processing is to be done. Now, on this continuous basis, system has to calculate and decide that whether account is overdue, whether it is SMA1, whether it is SMA2. It system has to go on daily basis. Because first step of classification of the NPA is, first of all, they have to classify, do the classification, identification of the SMA1, SMA2. Then system will automatically calculate what will be the date of NPA. So point is this, we have to see in these cases that the bank is having that software. A bank, because it is not possible for auditor from November 12, 2021, that we have to see daily report. What is the position? What is that? No. First of all, we should see whether the bank has changed their software. Now the classification is not the month end. It is the end of the day on which it is the due date for payment. If not paid, that will be taken as a due overdue date. So this is what we have to be very, very careful. If the software is not generating that report, so it means we have to qualify in the main report as Chopra sir has said about this. So this is with regard to the interest. Day and processing language is day and processing for the due date, irrespective of the time of running the report. You are running the report after 1 month immaterial. But what is the real date or the due date? What is the end of the day processing? What is the status on the relevant? That has to be done. So this is what this time bank has to do for the day and processing. And I request the members to download this circular. In this circular, one example is given. What should be the due date? When it will become SMA1, when it will become SMA2, and when it will become NPA. One member was asking this 25th or 26th example. That is clearly clarified and mentioned in this circular. There is no doubt about this. The due date on which the installment or interest is not paid, that will be included for the calculation of the 90 days period. So this is clarified. Now one more thing is, now you can see exception is there. Agriculture advances are exception for that. So there is a separate classification and guidelines for the crop run and all this. But due date concept will remain the same. On which it is not paid, that will be included in the period. So in this way, if we go every date, bank has to do day and processing. One more thing is important para this time is headed. Actually, in the last year, there was circular was issued by Reserve Bank of India on September 14, 2020 with regard to the automation of the NPA classification. This time, that circular reference is also mentioned in the October 1st, 2021 circular. So now this is all related guidelines. Next comes, there is a clause 6 and 7 in November 12 circular. CCOD, which Chopra sir had said. Now see how complicated it is now. Earlier guidelines was that if interest debited in the last 90 days as on balance sheet date, if interest debited is not received or the credits are not sufficient. Naveen Khemka ji, I think you are talking on phone. You can keep your video off, that will be the better. So point is this balance sheet word is removed. Now we have to see 90 days. Now system has to say 90 days start on any day and can end on any day, not month end. The word balance sheet is removed. Now 3 clauses are there for NPA classification of the CCOD account. If account remains overdue more than 90 days continuously, 90 days can start on any date and end on any date. Number one. Number two, second, last 2 clauses, earlier it was on the balance sheet said we are saying. Now, during any continuous 90 days period, if the credits are not sufficient to cover the interest debited during that 90 days, then account will be classified as an NPA on the 90th day. Now that as auditor I cannot see, but system has to pick it up. Now that these 90 days period start and ends like that. So that how as auditor I can see when is the first day and what is the 90 days. System has to pick it up itself every day basis on day and processing in the 90 days whether the credits are sufficient to cover the interest debited If it is there, the account will be declared NPA on the same day. Now, what will be the impact of this? Because my guidelines what says, once the account will become NPA, it can be upgraded only when all irregularities have been regularized in all the credit facilities. Earlier this class on the balance sheet date. But now what will happen? Suppose it has happened in the 90 days, interest was not received. Account will be immediately declared NPA. Suppose the borrower is having 4 accounts or 5 accounts. This CC account has become NPA due to this 90 days interest have not received. But in other term loan, in one account, 30 days overdue, another account, 60 days overdue. So what will happen? These will be also declared NPA. But now this facility can be upgraded only when all irregularities have been regularized in all the credit facilities. Now they have to pay for upgradation, not only regularize the CC account, they have to pay 30 days or 60 days overdue amount also. This is the problem will come to the bank this time. Now we have to see again whether the bank is doing every day-end processing for identification of SMA 1 and 2 as well as NPA. So this is very important issue we have to take care of. If bank is not doing that, not generating day-end processing report, then certainly we have to qualify it. So this clause is also applicable from the November 12, 2021. Next comes NPA classification in case of interest payments. What was the earlier clause in this? Let us understand. If some senior members are there, if they remember what was earlier, banks before computerization, banks were charging interest on quarterly basis, other than agriculture. In agriculture, on the 6 monthly basis. So when the computerization started, banks started charging interest on monthly basis. So what was the impact of that? If the charging monthly basis or the same rate instead of charging the quarterly basis, suppose rate of interest is 8%. Earlier they were charging on the quarterly basis. Now they are charging on monthly basis. The compounding effect will take place and the rate of interest actually will become more than 8%. Then RBI has added one clause in the master circular interest on loans. Bank should charge the interest on the monthly basis, but the cumulative effect of the charging of the monthly interest should be like that. The figure should come same, which was coming on the quarterly basis. It means they should feed the system the rate of return lesser than 8% in some points. And in NPA norms, they have added that clause. In case of the interest payments, bank should classify an account as NPA for interest payments. Where EMI is not there, they have to pay principal plus interest. Only if the interest due and charged during the quarter is not serviced fully within 90 days from the end of the quarter. Now RBI has changed this. What they said? RBI said interest has to be served within 90 days from the date when it is applied. Earlier it was, for example, October, November, December interest. 3 months they were charging monthly, but for NPA classification purpose, 3-month interest is to be paid within 90 days after 31st of December. But now October 31st October interest is to be served within 90 days from 31st October. November interest has to be served 30th November within 90 days from the 30th November. And 31st December interest to be served within 90 days from the 31st December. But this clause has been made effective from March 31st, 22. This clause. But it is not going to impact anything this year. Reason is this, because now they have made one change. If interest is not paid on due date, it will be treated as an overdue day also. So it means any account where quarterly interest up to December is not paid, up to 31st December account will become NPA itself due to that change. So for next year, on monthly basis, it will be taken care. One more change has come with regard to the upgradation. For this, they have given one more clarification in 15th February circular. Actually, what I should say, in the old circular, The meaning was the same. I think there were some queries might have reached to the Reserve Bank of India. That is why they have given a clarification. Earlier language was account can be upgraded only when all the irregularities have been regularized. RBI is further clarified in the circular that loan accounts classified as NPA can be upgraded to standard asset only if entire areas of interest and principal are paid by the borrower. At 15th February circular, they have added more word after that. Entire areas of interest and principal in all the credit facilities have been paid by the borrower. So this is a clarification only. This has come. Only exception is account which are the project under implementation, restructuring and DCCO. They will be governed by the respective guidelines. Now, one more thing that has come. The loan with moratorium on payment of interest. But Chopra sir is absolutely right. There is one more clarification as given in this circular. Let us read it very carefully. It is clarified that if loans with moratorium on payment of interest, loan with moratorium, payment of interest within bracket, permitted at the time of the sanction of the loan. It does not mean that after that they have restructured and they have funded it. No, it is only at the time of the original sanction, permitted at the time of sanction of the loan, become NPA. After moratorium period is over, now another word is very important, the capitalized interest, not the other interest, but capitalized interest. What is the meaning of the capitalized interest? That will not be reversed. What is the meaning of the capitalized interest? For example, bank has given a loan of 10 crore rupees for housing, for example, say 1 crore rupees housing, and they have given a moratorium period of 6 months for principal as well as interest. One way of giving the moratorium is that suppose 1 crore loan is given, 6-month interest system has charged, for example, 10 lakh rupees. Now after 6 month figure will become 1 crore 10 lakh rupees. After 6 months, EMI will be fixed for 1 crore 10 lakhs rupees. This is called interest is capitalized and are made a part of the loan amount. In that case, that interest will not be reversed if after moratorium account become NPA. Number one situation. Second situation, what the bank says, this is a 6-month moratorium is given for principal and interest. After 6 months, EMI will be fixed or the rescheduled payment will be fixed for 1 crore rupees only. And the 6-month interest will be paid after 6 months or the 9 months. That is not the interest capitalized. That because due date is already fixed. It is not capitalized with the principal. In that case, it is. So this is the clarification for this. This has come. So these are the basic amendments with regard again February 12. All these clarification we have already discussed. Only one more clarification Reserve Bank of India has given. There is a possibility some query might have come with the Reserve Bank of India in this regard. They have clarified overload facility means out of order status is applicable to all type of overdraft facility, either business or the individual or overdraft sanction. You have to pay only the interest. Every type of overdraft facility is to be there. They have further clarified in this circular previous 90 days period overdue consent determination order shall be inclusive of the day on which day and processing being run. So I have already told the interim loan, they have clarified in the circular number 12, and for CC they have clarified it. So these are the clarification with regard to these all new amendments. Now next I am going to take restructuring. We have to understand the restructuring concept. So which Chopra sir has said in the overview. Let me take you to the with each and every amendment which has come and how it is going to impact us and what we should take care of. RBI is trying to simplify it, but I think if we read it, it seems to be more complicated than the earlier. Let us discuss this about restructuring. One is the restructuring with regard to the agricultural loans in natural calamities. There is no change in that. It is as it is, which was the earlier year. Now, there are three restructuring I have to discuss in detail. One is MSME. Because you remember, in year 2020-21, RBI has issued the circular for MSME one-time restructuring. Because again the COVID has taken place, the financial year 21-22, RBI has extended the period of one-time restructuring. And two new circulars were issued, one in the May and another in the June. But the terms and condition of that one-time restructuring slightly differ with the earlier one. Same way, two circulars they have issued, one in the May and another is in the June, with regard to the loans other than MSME. So there is again, that scheme is also extended, which were given earlier in 2021, but the conditions are slightly different. Next comes October 1st restructuring other than these cases. So let us discuss about this. There are complete list of the circulars which I am going to send to the Nitishji, and he will forward to all of you. Because in MSME cases, what happened, there is a large number, there are around 7, 8 or 9 or 10 circulars are there. Important one is the May 5 and the June 4. That I am going to discuss, because in some places it is mentioned that the other clauses mentioned in the earlier circular remain unchanged. So we have to read that circular also if we need it. But these two circular impact is what? Let us see this. MSME restructuring extended period 21-22. What are the changes in MSME guidelines restructuring one time? What is this? What was happened in 2021? Definition of MSME was changed. If we see the old circular, what was happened in that, then RBI has clarified that the turnover means all the turnover which has taken place for the particular PAN. For the fixed assets, investment in the fixed asset is taken on the written down value on a particular PAN. And at that time it was said, all the certificates which have been issued up to 30th of June 2020 will remain valid up to March 31st, 2021. Now RBI has extended that period. All the MSME certificates which have been issued till June 30th, 2020 will remain valid up to March 2022. This is one clarification has come. Another thing, if we see the earlier year MSME one-time restructuring, these three categories were not included in that. Wholesale and retail trade and repair of the motor vehicle, wholesale trade except other than motor vehicle, and retail trade except motor and repair motor vehicle and motor. This time, these were also included in definition of MSME for lending purpose. So these are the two changes. Next, let us see. This one-time restructuring has been extended. Earlier, it was valid up to March 31st, 2021. Now, this period has been extended up to 30th September 2021 with certain conditions. What are the conditions in that? Because COVID has taken place again. So the guidelines is that account should have been standard. Borrower should have been MSME as on March 31st, 2021. Number one. Aggregate exposure. In earlier scheme, it was 25 crore rupees. Now this is 50 crore rupees. MSME covered in that definition can get one-time restructuring benefit. Now the borrower count should be standard as on March 31st, 2021. So account should be MSME on March 31st, 2021. Total exposure to all lending institution should not exceed 50 crores. Account should be standard on March 31st, 2021. Account borrower should be GST registered. If they are not required to get registered, then that exemption is there. Next come, I told you, let us understand first this, up to which period this scheme is applicable. In this new circular, in the one-time restructuring, it is mentioned, if any borrower who has got the one-time restructuring benefit in the earlier schemes, then they will not get again. It is one-time restructuring benefit. So this is not applicable to those who have got it earlier. Now it is applicable who has not got earlier, but when and how. The loan borrower, there is a decision of invocation should have been taken place by 30th of September. What is the meaning of invocation in this? In earlier circular, it was not that. Now, what is the meaning of invocation? Borrower has given an application to the bank. So I need one-time restructuring benefit, and bank has accepted it, and decision has been taken by the bank by issuing a letter to the borrower that we agree for this restructuring, and this letter we are issuing. It means by 30th of September 2021, invocation has been done. I mean, decision has been taken by the bank and accepted the customer request. But within which time this invocation has to be done? When borrower submit application, within 30 days, bank has to issue the invocation letter to the customer. And that letter has to be issued before 30th of September. So this is the condition with regard to this scheme. Next point, what they have said in this case, restructuring should be implemented within 90 days from the date of invocation. Now, for example, borrower has given an application for one-time restructuring, for example, on 1st of July. So what bank has to do? Within 30 days, bank has to invoke it, accept it. Suppose on 30th of July, bank has issued the letter of invocation. So that will be treated as the date of invocation. So 90 days from 30th of July. Within 90 days from the invocation, bank has to implement it. Implementation definition they have given. All documents have been completed. All entries have been passed in the system. Charge has been created. Everything has been completed within 90 days from the date of the invocation. But invocation is done by 30th of September for MSME up to 50 crore rupees. All document has to be completed. If it is already restructured, then it cannot be done. Provision. In the last year, in 2021, the standard will remain standard, number one. Second thing, what they have said in the circular, small account was standard on 31st of March 2021. But implementation takes place or invocation is not taken place or it's a delay, but by 30th September it has been done. For implementation, account slip into the NPA category. Then if all the conditions have been complied with as per this circular, account will be upgraded to standard only because it was standard on 31st March and that period has been allowed by the Reserve Bank of India in this circular. Additional provision will be made. Standard provision will be 10%. In the old scheme, it was 5%. In the new scheme, it will be 10%. So these are the guidelines in this regard of the restructuring, one-time restructuring for MSME. Now, what are the circular with regard to non-MSME? That is what I have to discuss. So these are the circulars. Complete list of the earlier circular that I will again give in that list. Two important circular. One is issued on May 5, another issued on June 4. Because now these circulars are applicable other than MSME up to 50. What are these circulars? What is that is called framework to resolution COVID-19. Who will not get benefit in this scheme? MSME up to 50 crore rupees because there is a separate circular for that. Farm credit, agriculture, there is a separate restructuring guidelines. Exporter of lending institution to financial service providers, they will not get benefit, and some other cases are given in the circular also. And that will be applicable to the personal loans and the corporate exposures without change in ownership. And a benefit will be given, only this one-time restriction will be given to the loans affected by COVID-19. Any borrower who does not fulfill the condition of this circular will be treated as a restructured under the normal scheme, which is mentioned in October 1st, 2021 circular, and account will be classified as NPA. Now, what is these guidelines in this? There are three parts of this. There is a slight difference with the framework one, which was issued in 2021. First of all, this resolution A part, resolution of advances to individual and small business. This benefit will not be applicable to those cases who have already got the benefit in the resolution 1 in 2020-21. This is first condition. But there are two exceptions of that I will discuss later. Now, part A, who will get the benefit? First of all, individuals who have availed personal loans, they will get benefit in that. First condition, they have not got the benefit in the earlier scheme. This is very, very point. Individuals who have availed personal loan, but this scheme will not be applicable to the bank-owned staff and persons. So that will be out. They will not get the restructuring benefit of that bank staff. Other than that, individual definition of the personal loan is given in January 4, 2018 circular. You can download the circular from the Bank of India and make it, because it is mentioned personal loan means the loans which is other than business loans. Loans for consumer durable, credit card receivable, auto loans, personal loans secured by gold, not for business. So this is covered in that. Agriculture, it is not applicable to agriculture. Next clause. First clause, they have taken a personal loan. Next clause, individuals who have availed loan and advances for business purpose. Personal loan is for non-business. This is individuals who have availed the loan for business purpose, not more than 50 crores. In resolution 1, there was no limit, but here they have capped 50 crore का total exposure financial institution से maximum होना चाहिए. इससे ऊपर ये benefit नहीं मिले. So individual, the business, and next is non-individuals, retail or wholesale, which are not covered in MSME up to 50 crore rupees. Outstanding as on March 31st, 2021. So इनको ये benefit मिलेगा. What are the conditions of that? First, benefit is not taken in resolution 1. There are two exceptions of that I will discuss. Now you see that here. Provided further, the credit facility investment exposure to the borrower was classified as standard as on March 31st, 2021. If we see the last year guidelines 2021, resolution 1, here it was mentioned account should not be in default more than 30 days. But now this time they have relaxed it. They have used the word, it should be classified as standard as on March 31st, 2021. Next year, moratorium. This is the exception I will discuss later on about this. What are the guidelines? The restructuring of the borrower should be invoked by 30th September 2021. Invocation means when borrower has given the application, with the 30 days, bank has given the decision that your restructuring has been accepted. You can go for this. That will be, it is the date of invocation. And within 90 days from the date of invocation, scheme has been implemented. This is these guidelines about this. Next come, what is the resolution plan? Implementation, when everything, all documents have been completed. That is the meaning the same. What type of the benefit can be given in the resolution plan? They have given the moratorium can give for 2 years, interest accrued that can be funded. Compromise settlements are not permitted for the resolution plan. So this is what they have clarified. So this is the complete guidelines with this regard. Asset classification, standard will remain standard. If account has slipped into the NPA category but was standard on the 31st March 21, then it will be upgraded provided all the conditions have been complied with. If additional finance is given, it will go in the same classification. But if the scheme has not been implemented, but the additional finance have been given, then the classification will be the same as per the normal restructuring plan. So provision, they are mentioned here before implementation or 10% of the regeneration term, whichever is higher, that is that. So what I have told you, there are two exceptions. Because it is mentioned, if anybody has got the benefit in the earlier scheme, then they will not get the benefit yet. There are two exceptions. One, in this resolution plans, it is mentioned bank should give in the restructuring 2 years moratorium. Bank can give. Suppose in resolution 1, somebody has been given the moratorium period of 1 year. So RBI has said, okay, because COVID has taken place again. If somebody has taken a moratorium of 1 year, give 1 year more moratorium that and postpone the repayment schedule accordingly. If somebody has taken moratorium earlier for 1.5 years, give 6-year moratorium. Means total cap of moratorium is 2 years. That can be. And one more benefit is given, which is given to the if restructuring has taken place earlier also. They have said because COVID has taken place again, so their margin should be recalculated. Their DP should be recalculated. Their operating cycle has to be seen. If it has gone up, reduce the margin and give more DP to them. But that has to be invoked by 30th of September. It has to be implemented with a condition, same level is to be maintained by 31st of March. So these are the guidelines with regard to COVID-19. Now let us come to which Chopra sir has discussed. I am now discussing the detail, which I don't think what is easy or complicated as restructuring concept as per guideline circular October 1, 2021. Definition of restructuring. As Chopra sir has said, we have to read the circulars. Because after that, I will take you some important point in the long form audit report, which speaks about each and every confirmation which we are discussing. They are asking there. I will link with that LFAR. What is the definition of restructuring? Any benefit given by the bank to the borrower who is in financial difficulty, it will be treated as a restructuring. And if it is a restructured, account will be classified as NPA. If it is standard, it will be the substandard. Now, problem comes. When we see the statement, when we ask the bank, how many cases you have restructured during the year? Sir, we have not restructured anything. But they have done it. Any refacement, any moratorium extension, except there is some specific guidelines for this MSME or this COVID-19. If some moratorium has been extended, provides in a financial difficulty, the restructuring, account is to be classified as NPA. If rate of interest is reduced, but not for other borrowers, and a specific benefit is given to a particular borrower who is in a financial difficulty, it is a restructuring. So we should do some analysis. We should take the loan statement of the current year as well as the previous year. Then if we compare, we should know the use of Excel. We should know how to use the VLOOKUP commands of the Excel. Then only we will be able to reach to some conclusion and do the due diligence and report it in our reports. So any account restructured has to be classified as NPA, number one. And there are some examples of financial difficulty is given in this circular. So what is happened? If account is restructured, it will be classified as NPA. First point is this. It has gone. Now point is this. When restructured account can be upgraded. This is the big issue for understanding. Earlier, there was only one guidelines with regard to the upgradation. What was earlier guidelines? No 10%, no 20%, nothing was there in earlier guidelines. It was simply that in early case, account will be upgraded if it has shown the satisfactory performance during the specified period. And specified period definition was 1 year of the loan having the longer moratorium period, principal or interest due date, whichever is later, add 1 year, that will be the specified period. And satisfactory performance was given, but it was a little bit ambiguous. But this time it is clarified. And this time they have made two parts of the upgradation. One is MSME up to 25 crores. Another is other than MSME up to 25 crores. Let us understand. MSME, where total exposure of the lenders, means all the lenders, is less than 25 CR. What are the guidelines for that? It can be upgraded if it demonstrates satisfactory performance during the specified period. What I am discussing, the definition of satisfactory performance is applicable only to MSME. What I am discussing here, specified period, it is only for MSME. What is the satisfactory performance? Satisfactory performance means no payment, interest or principal shall overdue for a period more than 30 days. means during the specified period, which I will discuss later on. During the specified period, no installment, any amount which has become due for payment should remain overdue more than 30 days. Or interest. Suppose EMI is due for payment, say 15th of December. It cannot be overdue more than 30 days at any moment. So now this is what we have to see. First, we see how many accounts have been upgraded during the year. If upgraded, whether it has shown satisfactory performance during the specified period. Next, for CC account, it is more stringent. In case of the CC and OD, account should not be overdue continuously more than 30 days at any time during the specified period. Say specified period, for example, comes in the calculation 2 years. Now during that is 2-year periods, there should not be overdue more than 30 days continuously at any time. If it has happened, it will not be upgraded. Now as auditor, I have to see all this. Now what is the definition of specified period here for MSME only? Specified period means there is no change in that. It was in earlier. Specified period means a period of 1 year from the commencement of first payment of interest or principal of the account having the longest moratorium period. Let us understand with the example how the specified period will be calculated. Suppose loan was restructured on 1/4/2014. There are 3 loans to the party. Loan 1, first installment and interest restructural. As per restructuring package, it is due on 30th of June 2014. Second loan, it is mentioned the first installment it is due on 30th 9/2014. Loan number 3, moratorium period has been given for it in this third loan. And for this third loan, after 1 year, first installment principal will be due on 1/4/2015 and interest you have to pay on 30th June 2014. Now, what is my guidelines? First, I have to pick up the account having the longest moratorium period. With these 3 loans, loan number 3 is the longest moratorium period. Of the loan having the longest moratorium period, we should note down what is the due date, first due date payment of the principal, and what is the first due date payment of the interest, whichever is later. Here is principal due date is 1/4/2015 and interest due is 30th June 2014. Later is 1/4/2015. 1 year from 1/4/2015 means specified period will end on 31st of March 2016. Now the account has to perform satisfactory during the period between 1/4/2014 to 31st of March 2016. This guideline is applicable only to MSME up to 25 crores. Less than 25 crores. Now come to the next. Other than that, this is a big confusion. So we have to read 3 to 4 times, then we will be able to reach to the conclusion what is this guidance. What is about others? Satisfactory performance other than MSME. Now I am coming to that. Here the specified period means this. But in other cases, specified period means word is used specified period. But definition differ with that what is given here. So we should not confuse with this thing. Here the satisfactory performance with this 30 days overdue. And in other cases, satisfactory performance will differ. Let us understand what is these guidelines. Satisfactory performance means the borrower entity is not in default at any point of time during the period concerned. Not in default at any time. Now let us see in MSME, they have allowed 30 days overdue for principal and CC also. But here, if in the period concerned, even a single day it is overdue, then account cannot be upgraded. This is the toughness of this guidelines. Now, what is the period concerned? In this case, account can be upgraded only if it has shown satisfactory performance. The guideline is this. NPA can be upgraded only when all the outstanding notes and facilities in the accounts demonstrate satisfactory performance during the monitoring period. Here the word is used. This is a new concept has come, monitoring. First of all, it has to show satisfactory during the monitoring period. What is the definition of monitoring period? It is given period from the date of implementation of resolution plan up to the date by which at least 10% of the total outstanding sum at the time of RP is repaid. For example, at the time of resolution plan is prepared, outstanding amount is 10 crore. You pay 10%. The date by which on which you up to which you will pay 10%, that will freeze your monitoring period. Suppose it is sanctioned on 1st of July, 100 crore rupees outstanding was there. July and August, for 31st of August, you have paid 10%, 10 crore rupees. 90 crore is outstanding on 31st of August. Now your monitoring period is only for the 2 months. So RBI understands this. They have given that guideline. NPA can be upgraded only when all facilities in the account demonstrate satisfactory performance, means not overdue even a single day during monitoring period. RBI has not left it like this. You can upgrade the account within 2 months. They have put one cap over that. Provided account cannot be upgraded before 1 year from the commencement of the first payment or the principal, whichever is later of credit facility having the longest period. They have put one condition, monitoring period, but they have put minimum cap of this exam. So now in this case, loans other than MSME, we have to calculate that period also, cap period, which is covered in the definition of the specified one MSME. Before that, the no loan can be upgraded other than MSME, and they have to pay 10% at least monitoring period during the. So these two conditions are there. If what is the additional condition further? If the borrower is having exposure more than 100 crores and above, but not more than 500 crores, credit rating has to be done. And credit rating should be the invested credit rating BBB. If it is 500 and above, there must be a 2 rating has to be done. This is the additional condition. So up to 100, these first two conditions, 100 to 500 plus 1 credit rating, above 500, 500 and above, there must be a 2 credit rating. These are the guidelines with regards. Next condition comes. It fails to demonstrate during the monitoring period. If borrower fails to demonstrate satisfactory performance during the monitoring period, or means relevant period, monitoring period or that cap period, so ultimately there will be a default. The again fresh resolution plan will be decided. Account will remain NPA. Classification will continue. Downgrade, whatever it is, but additional provision of 15% has to be made. Once the resolution plan, it has become default, and again resolution plan will be decided and 50% provision has to be made. So this is the condition about that. Now, one more terms have been put here. Suppose borrower has shown satisfactory performance during the monitoring period. It has been upgraded, complied all the conditions. But sometimes what happens? They have given one more condition. Account upgraded, but specified period not expired. One more cap they have put. Here, when I told you in MSME specified period definition differ. Here the specified period definition differ. They have, one is a monitoring period where 10% has been paid from the resolution plan implemented. Now they have put one more period, specified period, the date up to which 20% of the resolution plan amount is paid. That is called specified period. This is what they have clarified here. Period from the date of implementation of resolution plan up to the date by which at least 20% of the outstanding principal of the RP and interest is paid. The account has been upgraded during the period, monitoring period, no problem, but specified period has not expired. Borrower has defaulted with any of the lender. Then again, new resolution plan will come, and that 50% provision has to be made. So this is clearly mentioned as additional provision along with other additional provision may be reversed. That is the reversal issue, but these are the guidelines. So point is this, I have tried to sum it up about this, that I request all the members, at least we have to read all these circulars, then only we will be able to reach the conclusion what we have to do. Now, Nitishji, I am taking some important points with regard to the long form audit report linked to this restructuring and all other new circulars which have come.
Yes, sir, you can take, sir.
Okay. After covering all these things, it will be more easy to understand this long form audit report, which have been issued in the last year. But again, we are insisting some of the points are very, very important in this, and some practical views, and that I have to recall the members what audit trails we need. That is very important. Again, I am requesting all of you, we must know what we need from the bank. Before starting the audit, we should read this long form audit report and this important circular first, and make a complete list of all the items what we need from the bank. I think it will lead to some 40 to 45 items if we prepare. Some of the points which I have already told, some of the which I am going to tell you what we need. Because after getting that, if we are not getting, then we will qualify as a suitability. Second thing I request the members, we should avoid the reporting contradiction in the reporting. All the long form audit report point, they have asked specific questions, whether you have done it or not, whether you have verified it or not. Give a confirmation what is these figures. So all we have to give a specific reply to the point. We cannot say they're not applicable unless until it's actually not applicable and we have seen it. So we cannot say in the case is verified because everything is okay. It is not like this. In the cash, there is no change. In the last year, there were added one word, ATM. ATM, it is a 3-alphabet word, but for the some branches, it is a very wider meaning. I am telling you. When you are going to the branches, we are finding there is only 1 or 2 ATMs that are attached to the branch. We do the reconciliation of that and report it. For these branches, it is easy. But sometimes, which I have seen in the big cities, we got the audit of the branch, which is handling all the ATMs of the city. I got one branch, concierge branch, and the concierge branch, there is a separate department which are handling, they are monitoring the around 150 or 140 ATMs of the city. So how to handle that practical situation, let me tell you. So in these cases, what has happened, the banks, what they do, they decide the periodicity of the physical verification of the cash in the ATM machine. Suppose they are having a system, in the quarterly basis, they will do the physical verification of the ATM. They decide some ATM will be covered in January, some will be in the March, or some in the February. So what I did, I asked, okay, please give me a complete report of 150 ATMs, physical verification report with the branches conducted. So how to review these reports, 150 reports basically. When the bank staff does the physical verification of the ATM, they generate a slip from the ATM machine. First, that what they do, they confirm this cash in hand with the physically verified, tallied with that balance being shown in the slip. That you will find the slip will be attached with the physical verification. So physical cash tallied with that slip, plus my branch is having individual account of the ATM machines or 150 machines. Individual account, ATM number machine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So physical balance should tally with the slip as well as the balance appearing in GL on that date. So please do that check. If the reports are not available, make it a part of long form audit report. Any shortened access be reported, whether it has been rectified before 31st of March or not, then we have to see, and then we have to cover it. And one more important point is here in this case. What we should look into, branch staff is not feeding the cash in the 150 machines. They are giving cash to PN writer or CMS or some agency, cash replenishment agency. They used to give 2 to 3 crore rupees at a time to them, and they feed the cash in the ATM machine. So what my branch does, my branch is open an account in the name of the replenishment agency, which is good in the cash balance. So we should ask who has done physical verification of the cash lying with replenishment agency as of 31st of March. See that report, that should tell you with my GL. So there should be a no difference. If there is any observation, give my long form audit report, and if there is any loss of the cash, that we feel that we should give a more. Now, next clause. Every clause is having impact in MOC. I can say about this, which I am going to discuss. Other credit and debit entries originated in the state bank provided by Reserve Bank of India or other banks. Some banks are having. Suppose I got the branch in interior. So they are not, there is no RPC or CPC. The branch might be having the account with the clearing house. So please see that reconciliation. No entry should be lying in that. If cash is there lying in this, cash transfer to the clearing house of the currency chair, that is lying in the reconciliation, that should not happen. See why these entries are outstanding. When we report it, if it is having impact or loss or MOCs to be given, that should be given. Next clause is applicable only to those branches which are maintaining account with Reserve Bank of India. How it operates, this working is done. This will not be applicable to all the branches. Suppose I got a branch, because now I'm telling you how this account with Reserve Bank of India is being dealt with. Suppose I am the auditor of the currency chest branch. Who is the owner of the currency chest? Reserve Bank of India is the owner of currency chest. So my branch is keeping say 2 crore rupees as of 31st of March in currency chest. Means my branch has given that cash to Reserve Bank of India. Currency chest cash balance is not the balance of the branch. It is the balance of the Reserve Bank of India. But my branch has kept in that room in the currency chest. Now branch has to give debit to Reserve Bank of India because they have given cash to Reserve Bank of India. But my branch is not having the account with Reserve Bank of India. That is being maintained by some central office or some big branch. They are maintaining, and all the currency chest in the city are attached with that branch who is maintaining the account with Reserve Bank of India. What my branch will do? They will give credit to cash and will give debit to Reserve Bank of India through inter-branch. They will send one entry, debit, credit to cash, debit to the branch which is maintaining account with Reserve Bank of India through debit advice, 2 crore rupees. Now the branch which is maintaining the account with Reserve Bank of India will respond to this entry. They will give it to Reserve Bank of India and give credit to my branch, currency chest branch. Debit raised by currency chest branch, credit raised by a branch which is maintaining account with Reserve Bank of India, that this entry will be knocked off. That is the process of this. Sometimes what happened as of 31st of March, entries are raised by many currency chest branches on this branch which is maintaining account with Reserve Bank of India, but on 31st of March, either they don't get the intimation and they don't respond these entries. So that is why this clause has come in long form audit. The auditor of that branch which is maintaining account with Reserve Bank of India should find out how many entries which has been raised by all the branches up to 31st of March, but entries are not passed in this branch. The point is this, how this branch auditor will get these details. There is an audit trail is being generated in every bank. This audit trail is applicable to all the banks, even small branches. I will discuss, there is one more clause is there where we can use that audit trail. Ask the audit trail from the bank, please provide the audit trail for the transaction, for the entries raised by other branches on my branch, but not responded by my branch. When we'll ask this entries raised by my branch, but not responded by my branch, we'll get a list of all such entries which has to be raised by the branches before 31st of March. but my branch has to give effect in the books of accounts, and they have not done. And see that if it impacts my accounts, my MOC, we have to justify. We have to give MOC. Kamal Modi ji, let me complete. I will take up after that. Okay. So, sir, please, I will discuss later on. Let me complete it. So this is the point which it comes to these branches. Again, audit trail, which I have told you that we have to look at. Next important, loans and advances. Which sir, please down your head. I will take it up. Kamal Modi ji. Anyway, loans and advances, which Chopra sir has said. Now the threshold limit. The accounts above threshold limits नवीन केमका जी जरा ये कोमल मोदी जी का स्क्रीन जो है जरा ऑफ करेंगे आप वीडियो
कर रहा हूं सर.
So loans and advances, Chopra sir has said as above loans and advances is a very important area as of now because they have asked us total bank's fund based or non-fund exposure 10% or 10 crore, whichever is less. We have to verify 100%. We cannot take any chance about this. RBI said these are the large advances. We have to verify it. To what extent? For all accounts above threshold, transaction audit and account specific details to be seen. What is account specific details? अभी आपको LFAR में आपको डिस्कस करूंगा मैं डिटेल में. There are so many: interest updation, DP calculation, stock audit verification, credit rating, buyback of the shares, due diligence of the report. They are all classes are specific. It means for the accounts above threshold limit, we have to verify each and every information and comment it. We cannot deny it. Below threshold limit, earlier we used to say, sir, what is the sample we should do below or not? They have said we should do it. Some sample we have to decide. Below threshold, process needs to be checked. We have to check it ultimately. So these are the important and most important is RBI has asked the sample what we have verified. We have to give account number, we have to give the name, we have to give balance outstanding, total. Only my humble request to all the members is that we should not put any account in this list which we have not seen. Tell your junior staff who is going for the audit. They should provide the list only those accounts which we have seen, we have verified, then audit will be covered. Because tomorrow, if any fraud takes place in any of the accounts, certainly information will be asked. What we have verified, to what extent we have given the comment. Next comes. Have you come across the cases with quick mortality? Facility has become non-performing within a period of 12 months. So that we can easily verify. We are getting an NPA statement. In NPA statement, if the date of within 20 months from the date of the sanction account has become NPA, then certainly we have to give the statement. We should report it over here. So these are the points. This is the general information. But next is very important issue. Whether the borrower account, the applicable interest rate is correctly fed into the system. This is a specific information for the large advances also. Now, the meaning of the interest rate correctly fed into the system. They have read, they have mentioned that only. They have not mentioned at the end of the year. Suppose during the year, 4 times rate of interest has been modified. Now I have to see whether the rate of interest all the times have been correctly fed into the system with correct value date, with effective date. For the accounts above threshold limit, I have to verify 100%. For that, I will suggest we should ask for the audit trail from the bank. Please provide the list of interest modification in all the loan accounts during the year. Suppose they don't give it. Suppose. So it means we cannot take excuse everywhere that information is not available, we have not verified it. I am telling you, above threshold limit, at least we can verify from the system itself. In every type of modules, either I should take Finacle or any other software. In every software, if we put a, we can see how many times interest rates have been modified in the system in the respective loan account and with effective date, with value. So we should ask that information from the bank and then comment. Rest of the cases, rate of interest is modified. I can suggest you one more thing if audit trail is not available. We should ask from the bank to provide the loan statement of the current year with rate of interest. They are providing us. Every bank is providing. Take the last year also. Convert both the statement in the Excel and use the VLOOKUP option and put the last year rate of interest before the same account number in the current year statement and take the difference. When we take the difference, if there is a difference, say 0.5 in all the accounts, that is only due to the repo. These are the repo rate linked loan, and because repo rate has been changed, that is why it is. If there is a major variation, then we should say why it is less. If it is less, there is a possibility bank might have given a concession that might lead to the restructuring also. If restructuring, the account can be classified NPA also. So this is what I am telling you we have to do. We have to verify and then comment. Audit trail can be asked. Next point comes repo rate, which I was telling. Whether the interest rate is reviewed periodically as per the guidelines applicable to floating rate loans linked to MCLR and EBLR. Now we have to ask the bank circulars also. How many times you have modified the rate, the MCLR, EBLR and cases? What is the repo rate cases? So they will provide on this their date. This is effective. We should pick up some sample and then verify and comment. Next comes Chopra ji ne bataya tha renewal ka. Let us discuss in detail about this. Now this clause has come in long form audit report. Have you come across the cases of frequent renewal, rollover of short-term loans? If yes, give the details. यहाँ हमने डिटेल तो दे दी, अगर एनपीए बनता है तो एनपीए बनाना है. पहला क्लॉज तो अपना 1 अक्टूबर 2021 के मास्टर सर्कुलर में है. What it speaks about? If account remained overdue for renewal more than 180 days, account will become NPA. What the bank will do? Before 180 days, they will do some short review. But short review कितने दिन का दे दोगे? 3 महीने के 2 दे दोगे? क्योंकि after 1 year, next annual renewal is overdue. Beyond that, we cannot go. But some banks were doing it. They were making a sheet and GM or DGM was signing account short review without seeing anything, and they're changing the date in the system. Ultimately, RBI, we were telling since years to the members to take care of it. Ultimately, last year RBI has issued a circular on this, and this is very useful circular for auditors, and it is a tool for us. What it speaks, the circular, banks are therefore expected to have detailed board approved policy of methodology and periodicity. In the very first day in the letter, I should write to the bank, keep ready the board approved policy of methodology and periodicity of the renewal of the account. So that we will come to know. After that, Reserve Bank of India has instructed the bank. Bank should avoid frequent and repeated ad hoc review and review of the credit facilities without justifying. They should stop. So earlier they were doing. After that, they have said banks are also advised to capture all the data relating to regular or ad hoc or short review or renewal in their ICO banking system and MIS and make available for scrutiny to the auditors. RBI has said it. I should ask. So in the very first day, when you go for the audit, we should give a letter to the bank. Please keep ready your policy and further or provide the audit trail with regard to the all renewal and renewal or short review or ad hoc review from the ICO as required by RBI circular dated August 21st, 2000. So this will be a support to this. So this is what we should do. Next comes whether the correct, valid credit rating, this is a specific information and it will be applicable to all the large advances. Whether correct and valid credit rating, if available, of the bank facilities of the borrower from Reserve Bank of India approved agencies. And what are these agencies? ICRA, CARE, CRISIL, Fitch India, Informatics, Amira. These are the all approved agencies of India. First of all, what we should do? Again, in the I told you, because I need at least 40 to 45 information to do this audit, and we should write them in advance. We should ask the bank, please provide the policy with regard to the obtention of credit rating. So this is what we should obtain. So we should obtain that policy. So they will provide above which limit we need that, above which limit we need credit rating done in the bank. After that, we should ask, as per your policy, in how many cases I need to obtain the credit rating. They will provide us. So what is this credit rating? How we will see? First, we should give the list where the credit rating has not been obtained. Second, we should see all the credit rating which have been obtained and same has been correctly fed into the system. And whether these credit ratings are valid, because when these agencies issue the credit rating, they give the expiry period. If period is expired in these cases, in that case, we should qualify that these are not the valid rating. Now we should see the valid ratings. And valid rating we should review. If the rating is down, we should reach to the conclusion why this rating is down. What is the credit weakness? What is the inherent weakness in this account? Why this rating is coming down? Whether this weakness shows the red flag, the account has to be declared the red flag. And whether it is to be declared red flag, whether the NPA is to be classification is to be done. So all these things depends upon the weakness of the account. So this is the coverage with regard to the specific detail in the large accounts. Buyback of the share. Did the bank provide loans to the companies for buyback of the shares? As per RBI Master Circular on restrictions of loans, it is clearly mentioned bank cannot finance for the buyback of the shares. Now question arises, when RBI prohibits banks not to finance for buyback, why this clause has been added? So as auditor, what I should do now? I should ask the bank to provide the list of the companies where buyback has taken place during that. So bank will provide us the list, and then we should review from where the funding of the buyback has been. There is a possibility bank has given finance for X purpose, and that money has been diverted and used for buyback. If that is there, then we should give. We should obtain the list in writing from the bank. Next comes renewal or renewal, that we have already discussed. Please avoid the contradiction. If we are giving a list in so many cases, account are due for renewal more than 180 days and account is not declared NPA, then we are inviting the problem. Stock and content. This is a big issue. My guideline says, if the banks have allowed the DP on the basis of the stock statement older than 90 days, it will be deemed irregular. If this irregularity continues for 90 days, account will become NPA. Here I am giving in the long form audit report a long statement. In so many cases, the stock statement is not received, but I am not declaring account NPA and it's okay. So this is to be seen. But very important line they have added is the DP properly computed? Now this I have to confirm, yes or no. In large cases, so certainly I have to see. But first I have to get the complete, all the stock statements. Whether the creditor, what is the bank policy of reduction of the creditors while calculating the DP, whether it is by that policy or not. So what we have to see the compliance of this. So all these things we have to do. Now, and the DP calculated correctly and feed it in the system also correct. So in big large loans, we have to take care of it because it can impact my classification. See the stock audit report. Stock auditor has said that the DP is less. So that has to be considered, whether it has been done or not. So this is all these things we have to. Stock audit. The first two clauses are the same which are the earlier, whether stock audit report is taken or not. But one more line is added, where the stock audit was conducted, whether action, but no action is taken. Now I have to comment it. First, we have to read the report of the stock audit. Then only I can comment about this. So these are the issues. Due diligence, if you see the institute guidance note, from the years I am seeing, every year institute saying the due diligence report, because in case of the multiple custodial banking, bank has to take the due diligence report duly signed by the chartered accountant of the company secretary, and there should be exchange of information. There are 4 circulars issued by the Bank of India. So ultimately, in the large cases, we have to see all these theses and we have to comment in the report. There are 4 circulars. If you see the institute guidance note, 10 circular numbers are there also. September 19, December 8, February 10, and November 21. If any adverse remarks is given in the due diligence report and the exchange information, we should comment it. One more thing is there mentioned in this long form audit report. Whether there is a substantial deterioration in the value of security, we should be very, very careful in drafting the remark. Now we should comment if there is a substantial deterioration in the value of the security. It is not mentioned 10%. It is not mentioned 20% or the 30%. Because NPA production of surplus, what it said, if there is a fall in the value of security more than the 50% as inspected earlier, then it should be classified in the doubtful. If the value of security is less than the 10% of the outstanding balance, the loss asset, and if the fraud is the 100% provision is to be done. But here is no mention of this. Because if there is a 500 crore rupees loan, or say 200 rupees, 10% shortfall, 20 crore is a big amount. 10%. 20% is 40 crores. It's a big amount. So now I leave it on the members. What is the substantial deterioration according to the size of the portfolio we should comment? And second thing, if we feel it is NPA, again, we should take care of it. Next comes whether the bank has any red flagged account. Whether the bank has any red flagged account. इसके भी दो मतलब निकलते हैं. Whether the bank has classified red flag, first of all, we should ask the bank, please give the list of the red flag now declared by bank. Second, there is a possibility bank has not declared the red flag, but account is a red flag. वो मेरे को कैसे पता लगेगा वो मैं आपको बता देता हूँ. RBI issued one circular of the frauds dated July 3, 2017. In that circular, they have given a list of 42 early warning signals. If any account is having that weaknesses, 42 weaknesses, or any of them, that account will be classified as a red flag. This is as per RBI. But RBI has mentioned in the circular, on the basis of that, bank should frame their own red flag. Now, what as auditor I should do? I should ask the bank very first day, keep ready your red flag policy. Then read that red flag policy, which are the weaknesses bank has said. If these weaknesses are there, then account should be classified as red flag. If you find any observation during the audit, their red flag signals, early warning signals are there, but bank has not classified the red flag, please make a comment over there. Or if on the basis of this red flag, whether it affects my classification also, take care of this. So this is the issue. This is the 5 standard account you should comment not in. Now comes this automation, which we are discussing from starting. Earlier the clause was that has the branch identified, classified, advances, standard, substandard, doubtful loss asset. That's all. They have added computer system without manual intervention. Why this word is added? Because they have issued the circular on September 14, 2020. Bank should maintain the logs of all the manual intervention in NPA classification for 3 years for auditors. Now I should use this circular. When I go to the bank, because when we are going to the audit to the bank, we are asking bank to please provide me the NPA statement. Branch they used to say, sir, wait for 2 days, we will get the statement from the corporate office. After 2 days, they provide a statement. And we ask the question, whether there is any manual intervention. Their standard reply is that, sir, we don't know. We are getting this report from the corporate office and we are giving it to you for the audit. So please ask from the very first day in our letter, please keep ready all the audit logs with regard to the manual intervention in NPA classification in compliance of the RBI circular dated September 14, 2020. If we are not getting these audit logs, or they are not telling that they have not done any manual intervention, if we are not getting that information, we should qualify and say over scheme house. So this is what it has been asked. Next, SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2. As per the RBI guideline, this has been done or not. Now we are discussing since inception. This SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2. Because every bank has to do SMA 0, SMA 1 or 2 classification before declaring NPA. So these are the guidelines. Next important issue, restructuring. Now you see there is a separate section for NPA classification. There was each and every confirmation for us whether the compliance of NPA guidelines has been done. Restructuring I have already discussed, MSME, COVID-19 and resolution 1 last year and then resolution 2 this year. So they have asked us confirming whether all these compliances have been done. Next come upgradation. We have already discussed the new guidelines with regard to the upgradation of the law. In all the credit facilities, all the irregularities have been raised. They have asked the confirmation whether the compliance has been done or not. Next come IBC. This is applicable to the large advances and to the large branches. Whether they are any account where IBC has been mandated, please ask in writing in how many cases IBC has been mandated. Then we should see whether it has been initiated or not. Number one. Number two, we should ask the list of the IBC initiated by other lenders also, because in the next para they have asked for this. And whether the provision, whatever required as per the IBC code, that has been done or not. ECGC. This is the old clause. What we do, there is a separate column in the loans and advances statement. Government guarantee cases, ECGC guaranteed cases. It is shown as a 100% secured. But we should see when we are showing it is 100% secured, whether the bank has filed the claim for that or not with ECGC. And their file and claim has been rejected by ECGC. If claim is rejected by ECGC, how I can show it is 100% secured by ECGC claim? That is why this clause has been added. Whether the rejection is appropriately considered while determining the provisional requirement. If claim is rejected, don't show it as a secured by the ECGC. Take it to the unsecured and make 100% provision in case of the doubtful advances. Decree. This is the information only. We have to ask from the bank to provide us all the cases which have been decreed and what is the present status. If decree has taken place but execution has not been done, that data we have to give it. Next issue comes, that is a help to us. Now we are doing the audit of the CPC or RPCs. Documentation are centralized. If we have not got the documents, please report it in this clause. In which case, in how many cases we have not got the documents. LC. The huge information has been asked in this. Earlier there was language. List the borrowers with the details of LC default guarantee invoked at year end. But last year when this LFAR was amended, there was during the year. Now we have to obtain information of all LC default and guarantee invoked during the 12 months. We should ask that data in writing from the bank. They will provide the data and we will make it a part of my long form audit report. And don't leave it from here only. Just review all this data. Because potential norms, what it speaks, it says if the bank is LC default or BG revoked and it has been parked into a separate account, instead of principal operating account, it should be treated as a part of the principal rating account, right? While verifying the NPA classification. So when we are giving that such a huge detail over here, please see what the system in the bank. One more clause they have added last year. List of the instances where there is an interchangeability between fund-based and the non-fund liabilities. It is not permissible. For example, bank has given a non-fund based LC limit, say 20 crore rupees. 5 crore LC default. CC limit is fully utilized. For example, 10 crore rupees. What the bank will do? Non-fund base will be reduced by 5 crores because LC is default, and they will increase the CC limit by 5 crore rupees. That interchangeability in this scenario is not permissible. If you are finding that case, please make it a part of the long form audit. Now, there are some of the important clauses other than advances, and which has to be done by the concurrent auditors. Now, point is this: Institute has tried its level best and requested Reserve Bank of India that in some of the cases please drop it or dilute it, but there no change has come in that. So ultimately we have to do it. Now, point is this: while commenting in the long form audit report, drafting is a very important. There are some important clauses are there where the scope is very wide. It is not defined to what extent we have to verify. So there is no option left with us. Ultimately in LFAR we should restrict our scope of checking. We have verified to that extent and classified. We should not give a blanket confirmation that no issue was observed. I think I would not buy this decision. So that is what we should take care of it. Some of the important clauses I am discussing here. Further, the scheme of automatic renewal of deposits applied to FCNRB deposit, whether such deposit have been renewed, report whether the branch has satisfied itself as to the non-resident status of the depositor and the compliance with the regulatory guidelines. ये clause है क्या? Some banks are having a system FCNR because NRI FDs, because FCNR is NRI FDs. NRE FD, it is in rupees, and if NRIs are minting FDs in foreign currency denomination, it is called FCNR FD. To open the NRE FDs account or NRE account, it is mandatory the depositor should have the NRI status. Now the banks are having a system of auto renewal of deposits. Now that clause has come for that. RBI is saying if you are auto renewing FCNR FDs, have you checked that deposit is on that day is having the NRI status? That is what RBI is saying. Now that as auditor I have to see whether the bank is doing that compliance or not. Now for that, what detail I need? I should ask from the bank in writing for the very first day, please provide the audit trail with regard to all the FCNRB FDRs which have been automatically renewed in the system during the year. So अपने पास वो data आ जाएगा. After getting the data, we should take some samples and ask the bank, these are FDRs automatic renewed. Please provide the evidence which you have obtained from the depositor confirming that the depositor is having NRI status. So this is what we have. We need audit trail for that. One more thing they have asked. Again, this is a concurrent auditor work. I should speak it. In the branch, if the branch is complying with the regulation on minimum balance charges on the saving bank account, now the statutory auditor has to do that also. For saving accounts only. Because Reserve Bank of India has issued a circular on November 20th, 2014 in this regard, and that is why they put that clause. And what that circular speaks? A bank has a condition that for 10, you have to maintain 10,000 rupees minimum balance, otherwise 1,000 rupees charges will be debited to your account. What RBI has clarified in this circular, suppose minimum balance 10,000 not maintained, you have to charge 1,000 as per your policy. One depositor has maintained 9,000 rupees. Shortfall is how much? 1,000. You cannot charge 100 per 1,000 rupees. Charge proportionately for shortfall, means 100 rupees. And that can be charged only when? Only when? If there is a shortfall, bank has written a letter or sent SMS to the party that there is a shortfall and within 30 days you should deposit that. If not done, then only you can charge. Now as auditor, what I have to do? First, I have to take the list of the accounts on sample basis which are having below minimum balance. After that, I should put up the samples. Then I should ask whether you have written a letter to them or not. If they are not shown evidence, then they cannot charge it. So I have to see the compliance of that, sir. Gold and security item, these are applicable only to the few branches. Now the banks are not sending the golds only to the branches which are having the old stock for the physical verification purpose. These are applicable. Next one, whether there are any software system used at the branch which are not integrated with the CPS. How the auditor can come with this? There is no other option. Ask in writing from the bank. Please provide the list of all the software which are being used by the bank. Then we can see whether it is integrated or not. But draft your comments as per the list provided by the bank consoles. Say their IS report or the concurrent audit report. Exception report. The word is branch is generating and verifying. First branch has to generate and verify. Take 12 days, 1 month, 1 date. 12 date samples. Ask the bank to provide the exception reports of these 12 dates. See whether the evidencing of verification has been done. Then we can give the observation. But it is not possible to verify the next item. What it speaks, whether there are any major observation pending, such complying at the year end. अब ये तो हम तभी वेरीफाई कर पाएंगे जब बैंक का स्टाफ एक्सेप्शन रिपोर्ट को चेक करने के बाद any pending observation they are making a summary or they are recording somewhere, and then only we can do that verification whether compliance of all the pending observation have been done. Then ask in the writing, provide that. If they are not providing that record, then I cannot. So this is what I have to take. Manual intervention. One manual intervention we have discussed about loans and advances. Next, it is very important. Let us understand what is that. Whether the bank has laid down procedure of manual intervention to system generated data and proper authentication of related transaction arising therefrom, along with proper audit trail of manual intervention. अब ये है क्या चीजें आपको bank is saying my interest income calculation is system driven. Suppose in the system rate of interest is wrongly faded on loan. Instead of 8%, they have charged 10% for the customer. Now customer is asking, please reverse this 2%. What the bank will do? They will release a manual JB voucher and debit to income and credit to customer. This is called manual debit to income. Locker end, charge twice. They will debit to income and credit to customer. Third, a deposit rate has not, interest has not been given on the deposit. There is some wrong option has been selected in the system. Now they are paying interest on deposit by manually debiting to interest and credit to the customer. These are 3 examples which are. Now what we have to do in this case is, please ask the bank to provide all the audit trails with regard to the manual intervention being generated as per the bank system. केसेस तो मैंने आपको बताया, जरा चेक कर लीजिएगा. और हर बैंक में एवरी बैंक इज हैविंग ए सिस्टम कि आप मैनुअल इंटरवेंशन की ट्रांजैक्शन किसकी अप्रूवल से पास करेंगे. जितनी ज्यादा अमाउंट इन्वॉल्व होगा उतनी ज्यादा अप्रूवल हायर लेवल हो जाएगा. नेक्स्ट कम्स furnish your comment with the data integrity with used at correctness of the data, checking of the data being used at for MIS at HO. ब्रांच लेवल पे मेरे को कैसे पता लगेगा कि ब्रांच का कौन सा डाटा से क्या MIS HO में निकल रही है. I will not be able to. Let me practically say this. कुछ चीजें मैं कर सकता हूं और मैं जो कर रहा हूं वही लिख के आऊंगा, मैं ब्लैंकेट नहीं देके आऊंगा. फर्स्ट मैं क्या देख सकता हूं? I can comment that whatever I have reviewed and verified during the audit, उसमें मेरे को अगर कोई चीज मिली है डाटा इंटीग्रिटी पे जो मेरे को डाउट है, I should make it a comment. Review concurrent audit report. और एक हर बैंक में मित्रा कमेटी रिकमेंडेशन का सिस्टम है. As per RBI guideline, every bank has to fix up a threshold limit. Above that, all the transaction has to be re-verified at the end of the day. वो वेरिफिकेशन हो रहा है, उसकी क्या रिपोर्ट्स है, उसमें क्या ऑब्जर्वेशंस है. So whatever I am verified, I should draft my comment accordingly and comment it. I cannot give blanket reply in this. One is inter branch accounts. मैं आपको शुरू में एक रिपोर्ट बोला था, entries raised by other branches on us but not responded by me. जरा अपनी ब्रांच में मांग लीजिएगा, वही इंटर ब्रांच है. मान लिया किसी ब्रांच ने मेरे को डेबिट रेज किया और पता लगा मैं किसी को डेबिट ही नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, इट इज अ लॉस टू द बैंक. अगर आता है तो उसका एफओसी बनेगा. चलिए साहब, फ्रॉड्स में उन्होंने सारी इंफॉर्मेशन हमें बैंक से लेनी है. कितने फ्रॉड्स हुए, उनका क्या प्रेजेंट स्टेटस है, आरबीआई को रिपोर्टिंग हुई है नहीं हुई, उस फ्रॉड के अंदर हमें क्या नजर आ रहा है, हमारे को कोई वीकनेस सिस्टम में नजर आ रही है, वो हमारे को दे, ये तो हम दे देंगे, यहाँ मुझे दिक्कत नहीं है. पर एक इशू और है, हम ब्रांच से जाकर के वी आर आस्किंग प्लीज प्रोवाइड द लिस्ट ऑफ द फ्रॉड्स which have been detected during the year. I am doing the audit in the metro branch, say Calcutta या दिल्ली. ब्रांच मैनेजर बड़ा कंफर्टेबली दे देगा आपको सर्टिफिकेट, सर इन माय ब्रांच नो फ्रॉड हैज टेकन प्लेस. बट व्हाट इज अबाउट माय लोन्स एंड एडवांसेस? Loans and advances which I am auditing are centralized as CPC and RPCs. If any fraud is reported by CPC and RPC relating to loan and advances of my branch, उसका सर्टिफिकेट कौन देगा? Then you should write a letter on the first day to the branch. Please provide the list of all the frauds detected at the branch and CPC and RPC relating to loans and advances of the branch. Please ask it. क्योंकि प्रूडेंशियल नॉर्म क्या कहते हैं? इन केस ऑफ द फ्रॉड 100% प्रोविजन इज टू बी मेड. अगर आपको ये डिटेल नहीं मिल रही है तो भैया क्वालिफाई करके आइए, ये हमको आरपीसी सीपीसी से डिटेल नहीं मिली. सेम वे कंकरेंट ऑडिट, इसमें पॉइंट है कि कंकरेंट ऑडिट के एडवर्स रिमार्क्स यू हैव मेड अ पार्ट ऑफ द लॉन्ग फॉर्म ऑडिट रिपोर्ट और नॉट. ब्रांच अपनी तो दिखा देंगे अपनी ऑडिट रिपोर्ट, कंकरेंट ऑडिट रिपोर्ट, बट व्हाट इज अबाउट द एडवर्स कमेंट्स reported in the concurrent audit and the inspection report relating to loans and advances at CPC, RPC? Please ask it. If you are not getting detail, make it a part of the long form audit report. Last important point, KYC and AML. KYC में तो मुझे कोई इश्यू नहीं है, मैं लिख दूंगा मैंने 15 सेविंग के अकाउंट चेक करे, 15 करंट अकाउंट चेक करे, कुछ ट्रस्ट के अकाउंट चेक करे, different अकाउंट. So that as per the policy, documentation is taken or not of the system. But AML is a very wide term. बहुत कोशिश की गई कि आरबीआई इसको क्लैरिफाई करे, what should be the scope for the statutory auditor. No reply as to this. AML तो कहीं भी हो सकता है भाई, आरटीजीएस हो रहा है वहां भी AML हो सकता है, हाई वैल्यू ट्रांजैक्शन है वहां भी AML उसको डिक्लेयर कर सकते हैं कभी भी. इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग. हाई वैल्यू कैश ट्रांजैक्शन हो रही है, AML हो सकता है, चेन ट्रांजैक्शन हो रही है, ओके, सो कहीं भी हो सकता है. सो व्हाट वी शुड डू इन दिस केसेस, वी शुड ड्राफ्ट द कमेंट रिस्ट्रिक्टिंग द स्कोप ऑफ द ऑडिट. क्योंकि नॉर्मली बैंक्स के अंदर एक टर्मिनोलॉजी है केवाईसी एमएल के अंदर, बैंक शुड इंश्योर दैट द नेचर ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन commensurate with the nature of the business. For example, abnormal receipts and payments, frequent cash deposit, ये कुछ एग्जांपल्स हम देख ही सकते हैं. फ्रीक्वेंट कैश विड्रॉल्स, कैश जमा हो रहा है, रिमिटेंस निकल रही है, फॉरेन इनवर्ड रिमिटेंसेस हो रही है, कैश निकल रहा है, चेन ट्रांजैक्शन हो रही है, 50,000 से ऊपर कैश जमा हो रहा है, पेन नहीं लिया जा रहा, आरटीजीएस एनईएफटी कैश लेके हो रहा है. So these are some of the examples which I have shared with you. एक तो बैंक से सीटीआर और एसटीआर की रिपोर्ट मांग लीजिएगा, उससे आपको काफी कुछ डाटा मिल जाएगा. हाई वैल्यू ट्रांजैक्शन की रिपोर्ट, पर जितना चेक करें हम, जिस बेसिस पे हम कमेंट्स कर रहे हैं, we should report it in the long form audit report that we are restricting over checking to that extent. We are not covering all AML issues. So I think, friends, I have taken a lot of time for all of you. So I have covered all the issues which I want to say. If any specific query, एक आप लोगों का एक इशू था एग्रीकल्चर लोन्स का. एग्रीकल्चर लोन में I will tell you there is no change in this. There is a clear concept: 2 short crop season, 1 long crop season. Find out what is the due date. On the due date, what is the due date as per the sanction letter? बहुत simple सी बात. And after that, 2 short crop season or 1 long crop. When it becomes overdue, declare it. Now let us take the queries. It has come. बताइए सर.
सर चैट बॉक्स से मैं लेके बताऊं आपको?
हाँ, चैट बॉक्स में भी खोल लेता हूँ.
मैंने नोट किया हुआ है सर, मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूँ.
आप बता दो.
सत्यनारायण जी का था सर. What should be the auditor's stand and where to report if the deceased borrower account, specifically agri and gold loans, is continued by one of the legal heirs, account being regular?
देखिए, if account agriculture loan you are telling?
Right, sir. Agriculture and gold loan, sir.
And the point is this: if account is regular, I cannot declare it as NPA because legal hire is regularly paying. Account is regular. LFAR you can give the comment about this, but if account is regular for the payment, I cannot make it as NPA. But further funding should not be there. That is another issue. If because deceased is no more in the same name, I cannot do the further funding. That should not be there. That should be marked for adjustment only. Number one, because security is there and the legal hire is making payment regularly, that account cannot be declared as NPA. But remarks certainly will come in the long form audit.
And so, is it possible that whenever the renewal is due, the renewal has to be done in the name of legal hire and the actual owner has to be?
Point is this: first, it has to be marked for adjustment. Number one, then new loan has to be given to the legal heir. Or if all the formalities have been completed, all the lands have been transferred into the revenue records in the name, then only all the if it can be done. Otherwise, it has to be marked for. Next.
Right, sir. Same person has asked another question. In case of agricultural loans, we have seen that the loans outstanding were still continuing in standard assets even after 10 years of disbursement. Branch explains the same were due to drought and rephase of loans as matter of bank policy. Will service industry right? Second question is, sir, will service industry come under MSME category?
Let me come to this question. Right. There is a master circular with regard to the natural calamities of the agriculture. What it speaks, if natural calamities has taken place, only the amount which is not overdue can be restructured. A new plan can be defined on this. 10 साल का ये तभी पॉसिबल है अगर रिपीटेड रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग हो गई और रिपीटेड रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग के टाइम पे वो स्टैंडर्ड है, only not overdue. If that has carry on years, then only it can be 10 years. But as auditor, I should see where is a notification. Bank is saying drought. I do agree, but I have to see how many droughts have taken place, because all the droughts and natural calamity has been notified by the government. We should see all this circular first of all. And when every restructuring, repeated restructuring is taking place, some document has to be there in the file. We have to see that file. We cannot simply accept the same word bank has said, this is a drought we are doing this. There must be a documentation of this. So then only it is possible, and it is completely guided by the master circular of the natural calamities. It covers all these type of cases what we are discussing. और बताइए.
Sir, इसके बाद का question है whether will service industry come under MSME category or not?
Sir, MSME का last year circular आया हुआ है, उसमें complete list है. We have to see that list. उसके अंदर क्या क्या coverage. We have to see that list.
Right, sir.
और बताइए.
So उसके बाद question है अभिनव चौरसिया जी का, whether loan can be given for land which comes under chakbandi, and what are the fate of existing loan which was given when land was not in chakbandi?
The case is chakbandi का मतलब consolidation. Can you use the exact word in English?
उन्होंने स्पेलिंग में CHAKBND लिखा है सर.
वो तो मैं समझ रहा हूँ, हिंदी के अंदर है.
Okay.
एक बार दोबारा बताएंगे क्वेश्चन, प्लीज रिपीट इट.
Whether loan can be given for land which comes
आ गया वही कंसोलिडेशन.
Okay.
अब बताइए क्या इशू है दोबारा.
And what are the fate of existing loan which was given when land was not in chakbandi?
ठीक है, लैंड तो थी ना जी. आप जब पहले लैंड थी वो कंसोलिडेशन में नहीं थी और स्कैटर्ड थी, बट लैंड वाज देयर ना. Now it is consolidation by the government itself. अब आपको इकट्ठा करके एक जगह पे वो दे दिया गया है, तो अल्टीमेटली जो आपको चकबंदी करके जो लैंड दी गई है कंसोलिडेशन करके, क्योंकि ये प्रोसेस बहुत पुराना है, आजकल तो सब हुआ है, बट पहले होता था ये, तो कंसोलिडेशन करके अल्टीमेटली तो आपकी लैंड अब आपको दूसरी जगह लैंड दे दी गई कंसोलिडेट करके, दैट विल कंटिन्यू एज इट इज। और बताइए।
नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है अभिनव जी का ही है। बैंक सेंड SMS in case of minimum balance not maintained. How do we check whether SMS was sent or not sent?
That is what I am asking. Point is this, why should ask in writing from the bank? मेरा काम है उनको सैंपल देना, बैंक ने मेरे को जवाब नहीं दिया ना, मैं कहूंगा डिटेल्स वर आस्क्ड फॉर नॉट प्रोवाइडेड, hence as per this circular charges cannot be debited to the customer। मैं तो बहुत सिंपल सी बात, इसलिए मैंने आपको जो मालूम है ये सर्कुलर कौन सा था, वो मैंने इसलिए आपको स्क्रीन पे दिखा दिया, बाकी जो आपको लिस्ट आएगी उसमें आपको सर्कुलर मिल जाएगा। और बताइए।
Another question is from Ajay Nanda ji. Sir, what is the frequency of DP calculation? It is on month end or day end, and how to check correctly DP calculated or not calculated?
Sir, point is this, bank is having a policy। नॉर्मली बैंक्स के अंदर आप जब आप बैंक में जाएंगे उनकी पॉलिसी उठाइए, उसमें लिखा होगा मंथ एंड की स्टेटमेंट नॉर्मली कहा जाता है कि 7 तारीख तक दी गई है, ऐसा मतलब तो नेक्स्ट नॉर्मली इट्स प्रैक्टिकली व्हिच आई हैव सीन, इफ 7 तक आएगा जैसे ही स्टेटमेंट आएगा व्हेन दैट डीपी विल बी कैलकुलेटेड। रिगार्डिंग करेक्टली दैट आई हैव टोल्ड यू, वी हैव टू सी व्हाट इज द बैंक पॉलिसी। कुछ बैंक्स के अंदर मेंटेन किया हुआ है क्रेडिटर को कम नहीं करना, क्रेडिटर को कम नहीं करना वो इसलिए कि हमने एक लेवल फिक्स कर दिया, वो लेवल तभी तक एक्सेप्टेबल है जब सारे पैरामीटर उसी हिसाब से चल रहे हैं। अगर डेटर का लेवल भी वही है, क्रेडिटर का लेवल भी वही है, पता लगा सब चीजें चेंज हो गई हैं बिल्कुल ही, तो देन क्रेडिटर हैज टू बी रिड्यूस्ड। यू सी द इंस्टीट्यूट गाइडेंस नोट, इट इज क्लियरली मेंशन्ड इन दैट व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग। और बताइए।
So in case of KCC old loan, repayment due date not mentioned in sanction letter, what should we do if we come across such cases?
In KCC old
in case
loans,
of KCC old loans,
अब ओल्ड का मुझे आप मेरे को ओल्ड का ईयर बताएंगे तो मैं फिर आपको गाइड कर सकता हूँ, क्योंकि आरबीआई के सर्कुलर आए हैं, एक 2018 में सर्कुलर आया है, और उससे पहले का जो सर्कुलर थे उसके अंदर आरबीआई ने मेंशन था whatever the payment has to be done, it has to be the credit with principal plus interest, there should be sufficient credit of the principal plus interest in the account within the next 12 months। आफ्टर दैट मेरे ख्याल 2018 के अंदर, एक मिनट मैं आपको सर्कुलर ही बता देता, just wait, I should tell you that circular। उसके बाद आरबीआई ने कह दिया बैंक हैज टू फिल द रीपेमेंट शेड्यूल एज पर द एरिया रिक्वायरमेंट और द अकॉर्डिंग टू द कल्टीवेशन पीरियड। मैं आपको दिखाई देता हूँ, just 1 minute, I should show
right?
एक मिनट स्क्रीन शेयर कर लूँ मैं आपको, एक बार स्क्रीन शेयर कर देता हूँ। हाँ 2018 में आया था सर्कुलर। इससे पहले क्या गाइडलाइंस थी, ईच विड्रॉल अंडर द शॉर्ट टर्म सब लिमिट एज एस्टिमेटेड अंडर बी अलाउड टू बी लिक्विडेटेड विद इन 12 मंथ्स विदाउट द नीड टू ब्रिंग द अकाउंट इन द डेबिट बैलेंस और द जीरो। पर इसमें प्रॉब्लम आने लगी थी, 12 महीने के बाद दिया और अकाउंट सीधा आ गया ओवरड्यू के अंदर। बाद में आरबीआई ने कहा था रीपेमेंट पीरियड में बी फिक्स्ड बाय द बैंक्स एज पर एंटिसिपेटेड हार्वेस्टिंग एंड मार्केटिंग पीरियड for the crops for which the loan has been given। So this is what RBI has said। Now it is not कि 12 महीने के अंदर जो पेमेंट दिया वो आना चाहिए। अब as per the sanction bank has to decide अब कितना ओल्ड लोन है, अगर इससे पहले जाऊंगा तो मैं वो वाला 2012 का जो सर्कुलर है that is applicable।
16-17 का बता रहे सर, वो 16-17 का लोन है।
So ये सर्कुलर रिवाइज हुआ है मेरा ख्याल से अगस्त 2012 में। एक मिनट लेट मी सी, एक मिनट मेरे पास है, मैं लिख कर खुल जाता है तो भी दिखा देता, ये लो अभी बता देता हूँ। repayment schedule. Circular आया दो में short of the cases, the nature of the cash credit should not be restriction. Just let me see. Here, repayment period may be fixed by the bank anticipated. That has come was in 2012. That has come in 2012. So 2018 से पहले वाले में तो आप वो ले सकते हो, बाद वाले में आपको तो फिर आपको बैंक का ही देखना पड़ेगा अकॉर्डिंग टू द केस बैंक ने क्या डिसाइड किया। और बताइए।
Another question is from Krishna ji sir. Bank in the appointment letter is mentioning that they will not give management representations to senior branch auditors and giving only to central auditors. What should we do?
Sir, bank cannot do that. This is absolutely wrong. It is rubbish. If any bank is writing, I am openly telling you, sir, you do your job. Whatever information I need for conducting the smooth audit, I need that information. One thing is MR is different. Information which I need is different. Both are different issues. First of all, I have asked not the management representation. I am asking you. I need these details. Don't write I need MR. वो MR तो अपने आप आ जाएगा जब वो information नहीं देंगे. So MR and information both are the different words. So don't say MR. Sir, please provide these details to us for conducting the audit as required by Reserve Bank. So this is not the management representation. This is the information which I need. So they will reply it. They will reply it. Chaliye aur bataiye.
Another question is from Ratna Basu. Can term loan EMI be serviced from cash credit account, CC account?
Sir, वो और कहाँ से सर्व होंगी? EMI CC से ही होगी ना. जितनी भी उसकी अर्निंग आ रही है, सेल आ रही है, प्रॉफिट आ रहा है, वो CC में ही क्रेडिट हो रहा है. और तो कहीं नहीं जा रहा ना. तो वो वहीं से तो निकालेगा उसको. भाई एक बरोबर है, उसके 100 करोड़ रुपए की टर्नओवर है और उसका मान लिया 5% का नेट प्रॉफिट है 100 करोड़ के ऊपर, तो 5 करोड़ का उसको प्रॉफिट हुआ. वो प्रॉफिट तो वही है ना, वो सब कुछ वही है और उसमें से इंटरेस्ट भी निकल रहा है, उस लोन का इंटरेस्ट भी निकल रहा है, तो वहीं से करेगा. वो बहुत ही एक्सेप्शनल केसेस है जिसके अंदर और कोई ट्रांजैक्शन ही नहीं हो रही है और सिर्फ EMI से CC का अकाउंट ओवरड्यू हो रहा है, तो मैं NPA करके आऊंगा. In routine, it has to be adjusted from my operating account.
So generally, I think banks escrow account भी कर लेती है कि टर्म लोन का इंटरेस्ट सर्विस हो जाएगा, प्रिंसिपल सर्विस हो जाएगा, उसके बाद जो पैसे बचेंगे वो CC में रहेंगे.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि वो स्टैंडिंग इंस्ट्रक्शन है. वो टर्म लोन के अंदर भी आप केस टू केस डिफरेंट है. इफ इट इज अ ड्रॉप लाइन देन वी हैव टू सी. अभी RBI ने जो 12 नवंबर का सर्कुलर निकाला है, सॉरी उसके बाद जो 15 फरवरी का, उसके अंदर वो केसेस भी कवर कर दिए. इफ देयर इज अ कंडीशन ओनली इंटरेस्ट इज टू बी पेड ऑन CC. सो इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन केस टू केस. पर जो स्पेसिफिक इनकी क्वेरी है वो तो प्रिंसिपल ऑपरेटिंग से ही होगा. ये थोड़ी वो पैसा उसका नहीं और पार्क करेगा. नो
राइट सर.
और बताइए
सर. क्वेश्चंस अभी तक उतने ही है. रिक्वेस्ट काफी आ रही है फॉर शेयरिंग द PPT सर.
शेयरिंग PPT मैं बहुत स्लो चलाऊं, इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग अपनी वेबसाइट पे डाल दीजिए.
रिकॉर्डिंग अवेलेबल रहेगी सर एकदम,
क्योंकि ये PPT कम से कम I don't think it will be more than 100 फोल्डर्स हैं जिससे हाइपर लिंक्ड है. सो यहाँ पे तो लिंक खुल भी रहे हैं, मैं आपको दूंगा तो वहां आपको लिंक भी नहीं मिलेंगे. So it is better, please put it there on your website. Anything else, sir?
So just one more question has come in by Satyanarayan ji. Whether fund should not be provided for buyback of companies only or even not allowed for individual or firm?
Whether the fund should not be provided for buyback to the companies only or even not allowed for individual.
Suppose a person is taking a loan and he wants to buy back a company. मेरे को जो समझ में आया सर, तो वो allowed नहीं है banking if it is a company. So he is asking whether it is allowed. I
think ऐसा है, this query absolutely not clear. That is जो LFAR में clause आया है, buy back of shares के लिए आया है specifically. जो कंपनी जैसे आज TCS का buy back आया हुआ recently, वो जो buy back कंपनी करती है उसकी जो फंडिंग करती है कंपनी, ये क्लॉज उसके लिए है. और उसके अलावा मैं आपको बता दूं, एक काम करना, मास्टर सर्कुलर मैं आपको लिस्ट में दे रहा हूँ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस वाला, उसमें सारी रिस्ट्रिक्शंस हैं. अगर उसको कोई आपने लोन लेना है, किसी शेयर्स के लिए लेना है कंपनी को, सारा इट कवर्स ईच एंड एवरीथिंग बिकॉज़ इट इज अ स्पेसिफिक इशू, देन वी हैव टू सी दैट. और बताइए
सर अभी तक इतने ही क्वेश्चंस हैं। आई थिंक मैक्सिमम क्वेश्चंस अपने अपने डिलिब्रेशंस में ही क्लियर कर दिए थे, और जो क्वेश्चंस बच गए थे वो हमने टेकअप कर लिया है। सेशन को एंड कर लें सर।
सर गौरव गुप्ता जी, लगता है लुधियाना का प्रोग्राम नहीं सुनना तुम्हें, आज तो कलकत्ता में ही पहुंच गए तुम अमृतसर से।
सर जस्ट गिव द राइट टू अनम्यूट गौरव जी।
अनम्यूट गौरव, यू अनम्यूट द राइट हो।
या यू हैव द राइट सर गौरव जी, यू कैन अनम्यूट।
ये हमारे अमृतसर ब्रांच के एग्जीक्यूटिव रह चुके हैं, चेयरमैन रह चुके हैं, इंस्टीट्यूट की कमेटीज में मेंबर हैं। इनका इंट्रोडक्शन मैं देता हूँ। गौरव जी।
गौरव जी आपकी वॉइस नहीं आ रही है, आप अनम्यूटेड हैं बट आपकी वॉइस नहीं आ रही है। आपका माइक्रोफोन एक बार चेक कर लीजिए। नॉट ऑडिबल सर।
चलो एनीवे, और बताइए, एनी अदर इशू, शुड वी क्लोज?
वी कैन क्लोज सर। आई विल जस्ट so it's my opportunity to give a vote of thanks also to you sir. मैं सेशन को समाप्त तो नहीं कर पाऊंगा because it was so elaborate and in detail, but एक चीज बोलूंगा हमेशा कि as you also said कि LFAR is the picture of the auditor and everything should be reported over there. Whatever we are checking, that all those things has to be reported in LFAR. जो चीज हम चेक नहीं कर रहे हैं उसको हमको LFAR में रिपोर्ट नहीं करना है, and the circulars which the RBI has given is very important, उसको हमको कैरी करना है। And as you also said कि since everything is going into digitization, तो हमको डेटा एक्सट्रैक्शन वाला पार्ट को लेकर के, एक्सेल टूल्स वगैरह को लेकर के अपनी ऑडिट को महत्व देते हुए अपने को चीजों को मूव करना होगा। जो सिंपल अपने पेपर्स चेकिंग करते हैं उसको छोड़ करके डेटा एक्सट्रैक्शन विल बी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट इन बैंक ऑडिट इन दिस ईयर। Sir, on behalf of Views Exchange and all the attendees who have joined in, I would like to thank you for sparing your time and explaining in details about all the circulars and the changes which is being required and the motto of the RBI and what they are expecting from the auditors. I thank you a lot, sir, on behalf of Views Exchange, and look forward for more sessions from you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.